Sports presents College Football Today. From Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan, the Fighting Illini of Illinois against the Wolverines of Michigan. And this ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Brewers of Michelob. Put a little weekend in your life. And by General Electric Television. At GE, we bring good things to life. Let's begin with a look at the current Big Ten standings. Three-way tie at the top. Michigan, Ohio State, and Purdue all 3-0. The Illini have really been the big surprise, however, in the Big Ten this season. Illinois, a team that won only 2 games all of 1979, all alone in 4th place in the Big Ten with a record of 3-1. And we welcome you to Ann Arbor. I'm Al Michaels. It's that time of year. Get out the gloves and the thermals. It's cold. Temperature in the 40s, but the field is dry. This is a critical game, in particular for Michigan. They have their fate in their own hands, inasmuch as they will play both Purdue and Ohio State at the end of the season. Ohio State and Purdue will not face each other, so Michigan needing a victory today to remain unbeaten and 4-0 in the conference. In just a moment, a preview look at the rest of college football today. Right now, let's go to New York. Our studio's there, and join Dave Dials.
Dave Dials with Chris Schenkel in our New York studios. You know, so far this year in the top 10, half the teams are really surprises. Number 3 ranked UCLA was unranked in the preseason polls. Number 4 ranked Notre Dame is undefeated in Coach Dan Devine's last season. The Bulldogs of Georgia ranked 5th with sensational running back Herschel Walker. And 6th ranked Florida State was unranked early on. And maybe only the Tar Heels themselves really thought that North Carolina would be 7th ranked at this point. Let's look now at some of the reasons behind some of those top 10 surprises. UCLA has been led by running back Freeman McNeil, who is 6th in the nation in rushing, 594 yards and 6 touchdowns in 5 games. UCLA is ineligible for the Rose Bowl, but Coach Terry Donahue says every week is a bowl game for us. UCLA beat Ohio State. Now, how about Notre Dame? The Fighting Irish pulling a minor miracle early on when Harry Oliver booted a 51-yard field goal, 4 seconds to play. Notre Dame beats Michigan 29-27. That continues one of football's most storied traditions. Georgia's freshman flash Herschel Walker, 283 yards against Vanderbilt last week. That broke Charlie Trippi's 35-year-old Georgia record. And Herschel said, I really wasn't 100%. Although Florida State was 11-1 last year, few expected the Seminoles to repeat. But 3 weeks ago, this recovery of a Nebraska fumble on the Florida State 7-yard line preserved an 18-14 upset over the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 3rd ranked at the time. The following week, Florida State took on Pittsburgh, another top 10 team. And Florida State quarterback Rick Stockstill threw 3 touchdown passes. Seminoles win it 36-22. Now, on the other hand, Oklahoma, off to its worst start in a decade, and Houston are this year's most disappointing teams. But don't count them out just yet, because Oklahoma is tied for the Big 8 lead, and Houston has won 3 of its last 4. Let's take a look now at the other major conference races and the key matchups in this, the 8th week of college football. Take the Big 10, for example. 3 teams tied for first. In a key ABC regional game, Michigan takes on 2nd place Illinois, whose quarterback Dave Wilson broke the Big 10 passing record last week. Ohio State meets Wisconsin, and Michigan State travels to Purdue, where Boilermaker quarterback Mark Herman needs 72 yards to break the NCAA passing yardage record. Chris.
Well, down south, Alabama, Georgia, and LSU are on top in the Southeastern Conference, with surprising Florida coming back from an 0-10-1 record. Now, if Georgia stays unbeaten, the Bulldogs will go to the Sugar Bowl since they don't play Alabama, and Alabama went to the Sugar Bowl last year. And incidentally, next week here on ABC, Georgia will play South Carolina. That should be a barn burner, and consequently we'll cover that game either regionally or nationally as part of an ABC doubleheader. Number 1, Alabama, plays undefeated Southern Mississippi today, and we'll have special one-camera bonus coverage on that game.
Well, Chris, you know, the Big 8 looks pretty much like it always does at this time of the season, with 3 teams tied for first. The ABC regional game has Missouri at Kansas State. Meanwhile, Oklahoma plays surprising Iowa State, and Nebraska is at inept Colorado. Reminder, next week, Missouri travels to Nebraska in a major game. In the Southwest Conference, Baylor, off to its best start in 27 years with number 2 ranked Texas, Houston, and Arkansas to contend with. The Baylor Bears face winless TCU. Southern Methodist plays at Texas, and Arkansas plays Houston tonight. The Cougars have had some injuries to quarterbacks. Now, in the Pac-10, half the teams, as we said, are ineligible for the Rose Bowl, but all games count in the conference standings. So far, that gives Washington the inside track. California with an important game with UCLA, Navy going cross-country playing Washington in an ABC game, and Southern Cal is idle.
The Atlantic Coast Conference has North Carolina in the top 10 for the first time in 30 years. The Tar Heels meet East Carolina in a non-conference game. Clemson plays North Carolina State, and Duke, upset winner over Clemson last week, plays Maryland in an ABC regionally televised game. The Ivy League is typically unpredictable, with Yale and Dartmouth tied for first, and Brown and Harvard still in the thick of it. Our ABC cameras are at the Dartmouth-Cornell game. Yale plays Penn, Harvard meets Princeton, and Brown takes on Holy Cross in a non-conference matchup.
Well, among the leading independents, Notre Dame and Florida State are undefeated, and what a great clash it would be if the Irish and Alabama remain unbeaten when they play 3 weeks from now. South Carolina is idle, and as we mentioned, Southern Mississippi plays #1 Alabama in the battle of the unbeatens. I want you to take a look at that guy behind me. See that masked man on the white horse? He really is not the Lone Ranger. His name is Monty Kiffin, the rookie coach at North Carolina State. He has a unique approach to college football. Sure, he wants to win, but he wants it to be fun. That's why he rode or tried to ride a horse into spring practice, and that's why he jumped out of a helicopter into the middle of a pep rally before this season opener, just to try and drum up enthusiasm. And that's why he got into the ring with former heavyweight champion Joe Frazier at a pep rally before the Carolina game, just for the fun of it. Monty Kiffin is an enthusiastic guy, and his enthusiasm rubs off. And we paid a visit to the North Carolina State campus in Raleigh, North Carolina. Monty, why all the gimmicks? Why all the pizzazz?
Well, Dave, I just kind of that way. You know, I think that's just mean you got to be yourself. And I get kind of excited, and I want the fans to feel part of the team. And the players are out every day. They're out on the practice field. They go 2.5 hours, spring ball, winter program, lift weights, you know, fall camp, 29 days to first game. And they work so hard, and I want people to come to the stadium to watch them play now. I don't do it so that Monty Kiffin looks like a big deal or that I get publicity or that type of thing. I really don't. I do it because I love enthusiasm. I love our football players, and I want the whole student body, you know, the pep rallies, the fans, the Wolfpackers, to all feel part of this football team.
What was the kids' reaction when you came in here with this? It's kind of a radical approach to football, really, nowadays at a big-time school, and NC State's a big-time school.
Well, I think at first, you know, when any new coach comes in, Dave, that the kids, you know, it's a new philosophy, and Coach Ryan did a fine job here, and Coach Holtz before that. But again, you got to be yourself, and the adjustment for the seniors in the springtime, that was kind of getting used to the new coach and new staff, because every coach has got a different philosophy, whether it be right or wrong. But you've got to put in your own philosophy, and I'm a disciplinarian. I believe in certain things, rules and regulations, and we're going to do it that way. And I was probably kind of tough on the kids, but they, you know, I think you can have discipline, you can be tough on players if your staff will get close to them, and they know you care about them. And you got to really, down in your heart, you got to care about your kids. You got to love them. And that's what I talk to players about. So when I'm tough on them, I think they know I really care about them.
I appreciate everybody here, the band, the cheerleaders, everybody that came to this pep rally. And I'm going to tell you what, there are any better fans in America. They can talk about anybody they want. They can talk about Michigan, they can talk about Ohio State, and they can talk about Clemson, and they can talk about Carolina Blue. But there's no better fans in America than NC State fans. We may get knocked down the first quarter. We may get knocked down the second quarter. We may get knocked down the third quarter. But I promise you this right now, we'll flat get up off the ground and we'll get after them. Thank you very much.
I just told Chris I have some eligibility left, and Monty's the type of guy I'd like to play for. Let's get back now to the pregame activities and football in your area.
And from Ann Arbor, Michigan today, you'll be seeing the Fighting Illini of Illinois 3-3-1 on the year against the Wolverines of Michigan, overall a mark of 4-2. We'll take a look at Michigan after this commercial and a word from your local stations. The Wolverines of the University of Michigan are coached by Bo Schembechler, and that team, of course, has been no stranger to conference championships, no stranger to the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. But this year they got off to a shaky start. They opened their season against Northwestern, an obviously inferior team, and yet they struggled, beat the Wildcats by 7. Then came 2 consecutive losses to Notre Dame and South Carolina. However, they have rebounded with 3 wins over Cal, Michigan State, and Minnesota. Let's take a look at some of the individual standouts for the University of Michigan, and we'll take you back to September the 13th. 17-10 was the final score. Anthony Carter is a man to keep your eye on today. You can hardly miss him. He wears number 1. Here, he makes the catch in the end zone for the touchdown. that makes the score 17-10. Defensively, one of the standouts would be the linebacker number 41, Andy Canavino. And in that game against the Wildcats, it was Canavino who came up with this game-saving interception to preserve the 7-point win. The following week, a thriller. In South Bend, final score 29-27. Notre Dame. Lawrence Ricks is a man you'll see a lot of today, the tailback number 46. Notre Dame led in the game 14-0. But Ricks got loose here, a 28-yard run in the second quarter. The quarterback for Michigan, at least in the starting role today, number 5, John Wangler. And here he connects with Anthony Carter, a 17-yard pass to put Michigan deep in Irish territory. Wangler back to pass again and throws to the running back Ricks, 8 yards for the touchdown to make the score 14-7. Wangler with some good receivers, including his tight end, number 82, Norm Betts, who catches a 9-yard scoring pass here. And at halftime, the Irish and the Wolverines were tied 14-all. This was the kickoff in the second half. Notre Dame kicking to Michigan. We know what Carter can do as a wide receiver, and here's what he can do as a kickoff returner. Down the sideline, cuts back all the way across the field to put Michigan in good field position early in that second half, a 67-yard kickoff return. Later on that drive, number 32, the fullback Stan Edwards plows in for the touchdown to make it 21-14. In addition to Ricks, the other tailback we'll see, Butch Woolfolk, number 24. After Notre Dame had taken the lead 26-21, Woolfolk gets loose here, a 37-yard run late in the game. Then the play on which Michigan thought they had won it. Watch this. The pass from Wangler will be tipped by Woolfolk in the end zone. Off his hands and into the hands of Craig Dunaway for the touchdown to make it 27-26 in the final minute of play. Again, Wangler in slow motion on the roll toward the sideline. The tip and the touchdown. But Notre Dame still had time remaining to mount a drive. Then the most controversial play of the game, out of the shotgun, Blair Keel, the quarterback, back to throw, and pass interference is called on Marion Body, number 3, just past midfield. That set up a game-winning field goal. Harry Oliver coming in as time runs out. A 51-yard kick was good. And as time ran out, Notre Dame winning a thriller, the final score 29-27. The following week, back here in Ann Arbor, South Carolina came in and upset the Wolverines. And, of course, the Gamecocks are led by number 38, All-America George Rogers, rushed for 142 yards that day, and the Gamecocks win it. Michigan's record at that point was 1-2. But they rebounded, they beat Cal, and then they took on Michigan State the following week. Had a tough tussle there, but won it by 3. Marion Body atoning for what had happened at South Bend, intercepting a pass that was tipped by Canavino and running it back here. And then Wangler in the game against the Spartans off the play fake, finding Carter, a tough man to cover one-on-one as he gets down to the 1-yard line. Lawrence Ricks taking it in. Bo Schembechler, the Michigan coach, our man Bill Fleming, spoke with Bo here yesterday.
Coach, a few years ago, it had been heresy to suggest that a Bo Schembechler team was a passing team, and yet this year you're passing 7 or 8 times more a game than you ever did before.
Well, that's true because the defenses, Bill, have really come up hard on us, and they bring the 8th man into the running game, and we just feel that it's necessary for us to pass.
Now, of course, you don't have the option quarterback that you've had in the past.
We're trying to use the talents of John Wangler. He's basically a throwing quarterback, and he's not an option quarterback at all. So I would describe our offense today as power running and passing, and the option play is strictly a secondary thing.
Well, when I talked to you in the spring, though, you told me that Steve Smith is the man that you really felt was going to bring this team around, yet we haven't even seen him. What, 3 plays?
Well, the problem with Steve, early in practice, just before our first scrimmage in August, he injured his shoulder and missed the rest of the early season practice. So here's a freshman, you know, who granted has enormous talent, but he had no scrimmages whatsoever. And even through the first couple of games of the season, he wasn't ready to play. He's coming along pretty well. We put him in the game at Minnesota last week just to give him some experience. And it could be that any time, I think he's pretty much now ready to help us some. But Wangler's been doing a good job. He's been throwing well and running the team well. And I don't think it's time right now to think about making a change.
Head coach Bo Schembechler discussing his Wolverines as they get set to take on Illinois. In just a moment, we'll be back with a preview look at the Illini. The University of Illinois is led by quarterback Dave Wilson, number 18. Last week, those were his numbers, 35 out of 58. The 425 yards through the air was a new Big Ten record. 343 of those yards came in the second half alone, and that established a new NCAA record. So that was Wilson on the field, but the big story in Champaign, Illinois, throughout the course of the 1980 football season has been Dave Wilson off the field, and in particular in the courtroom. It's a complicated, complex matter, but let's reduce it to the basics and deal with it in chronological order. When Wilson graduated from high school, he enrolled at Fullerton Junior College in Southern California in 1977. There, on the very first play of his very first game, he was hurt and dropped out of school. Re-enrolled at Fullerton in 1978 and played there for 2 seasons, 1978 and 1979. And then this past winter, he enrolled at the University of Illinois. Well, the Illini felt that because of what had happened in 1977, the injury on the first play, that Dave should have 2 years of Big Ten eligibility. So they went for a ruling to the Big Ten Eligibility Committee. They looked the matter over and said no, that Wilson would have only 1 year, and that would be 1980. So the university then appealed to the Big Ten faculty representatives. They, of course, contending that they still wanted the 2 years of eligibility for Dave. The faculty representatives looked over the matter. They came back and said no, Wilson would have only 1 year, and that year would be 1981. They wanted Dave to demonstrate sufficient progress toward a degree in 1980. So with that particular ruling in hand, Wilson and his attorney, Robert Aller, decided to take matters into their own hands, filing suits against several parties. And it's difficult to ascertain exactly what effect this has had on Wilson's performance on the field, but it's interesting that the legal battles have run concurrent with the football season. It all started really on the day of Friday, September the 5th. On that day in Champaign County Circuit Court, Judge Harry Clem granted a temporary injunction. That meant that the following day, Saturday, the 6th of September, Dave Wilson would be in the lineup and could play in the Illini season opener at Memorial Stadium in Champaign. Through the air that day, he was only 5 out of 18, but overall, not a bad performance. Here he rolls out, scores a touchdown. The Illini score 5 TDs in the second half, win the game 35-9. However, the following Friday, the Big Ten went back to the same courtroom in an attempt to have the injunction dissolved. Instead, the motion was continued by Judge Clem until the following Wednesday. That meant that on Saturday, September the 13th, Wilson could play again, this time in Memorial Stadium against Michigan State. Here with the score tied late in the game, on the Illini's final drive, he hits John Lopez over the middle for a long gain to set up a game-winning field goal with Mike Bass. Only 5 seconds remaining on the clock. Mike Bass, a 38-yard field goal to give Illinois the win. Here's the way we called it that day from Champaign. It's long enough. It's good. And so Illinois, a team that had won only 2 games in all of 1979, was 2-0 at the outset of 1980. And here was the reaction of Mike White as Bass's winning kick sailed through the uprights. Final score 20-17. However, the following Wednesday, the Big Ten won a motion to have the injunction dissolved. But on the following Friday, the 19th of September, they went to appellate court in Springfield, did Wilson and Aller, and there the injunction was reinstated. That meant they flew Wilson in a private plane to Columbia, Missouri on the 20th of September to play against a tough Tiger aggregation. Dave did not have a good day, neither did Illinois. They lose the game 52-7. However, on Friday, October 3rd, the Illinois State Supreme Court upholds the appellate court decision 4-3 in favor of Dave Wilson, and so Dave has been in the lineup all season, and of course the highlight came last week. Despite the loss to Purdue, Wilson with his record-setting performance against the Boilermakers in Champaign. Here he hits number 4, Mike Martin, good speed, 77 yards for the touchdown in the second half. He has a bevy of fine receivers, including Mitchell Brookins, number 33. 5 yards for the score against Purdue. And he also likes to throw to his backs. Here, he connects with number 46, the fullback, Mike Murphy. Now, earlier this week, our man Dave Dials paid a visit to Champaign to talk with the Illini quarterback, Dave Wilson.
Are you sorry that you came to Illinois?
Not at all. I wouldn't have changed it. I would never change it. It's great here.
What has it done to you as a human being? Do you think it made you tougher or wiser or stronger person or what?
Probably a little bit of all of those. A little bit mentally tough, a lot tougher, and you got to be to play in front of a lot of fans like this, Big Ten.
College football is designed to be fun. Some of the fun has gone out of it in recent years for a number of reasons. Is it really fun for you?
I think so. This has been my dream all my life, to play major college football. I mean, ever since I was young, to get a scholarship and go away and to play in front of TV, in front of fans. It's just been my dream, and this is what I want to do. It's still fun.
So you're not disillusioned at all by what's happened to David Wilson from Anaheim, California?
I'm disillusioned that it's gone to this proportion. It's been blown so out of proportion that, it's just unbelievable. Other than that, I haven't been.
Now, the latest development in this matter was a meeting this past week in Chicago amongst the Big Ten faculty representatives, with the exception of the one representative from Illinois. They met and have drafted a list of questions to be answered by the University of Illinois about their football program. Now, the position of those 9 faculty representatives was summarized in Chicago on Thursday by Big Ten legal counsel Byron Gregory.
Does the conference have the right to monitor academic progress of each of the student athletes at each of its 10 schools without intrusion, either by the institution from which the student is applying or by the courts? And I think as the events unfold, it'll be demonstrated that that principle, which is far more important than who wins or loses on Saturday afternoon, will be upheld.
In sum, Dave Wilson's eligibility for the remainder of the 1980 season is secure by virtue of the decision of the Illinois State Supreme Court. He will play the balance of this year. However, there is still another legal battle to be won for Dave Wilson. After all of this, still to be determined his eligibility for 1981. So Dave Wilson, apparently, along with Robert Aller, will be back in court, and the only way to tag this story is to say, to be continued. For some time to come, we'll be hearing and reading about Dave Wilson and the University of Illinois. Meanwhile, college football today will continue from Ann Arbor, Michigan, right after this message. An update for you now. WBA Heavyweight Championship fight held earlier today. Mike Weaver knocking out Eric Kotsia in the 13th round, and so Weaver has retained his WBA Heavyweight Championship. Here in Ann Arbor today, you'll be watching Illinois taking on Michigan, and we'll be back right after these words from your local stations. ABC Sports presents NCAA College Football. Today from Ann Arbor, Michigan, the Fighting Illini of Illinois and the Wolverines of Michigan. This ABC Sports exclusive is brought to you by Chevrolet and your Chevy dealer with Chevette, Monza, Citation, and the new Monte Carlo. Chevy's up ahead for 1981. By the Miller Brewing Company, brewers of Miller High Life. If you've got the time, we've got the beer. By Texaco, with over 66,000 employees doing their best at their jobs to keep your trust. And by Xerox, we're big and small copiers. Temperature in the 40s. 34th consecutive sellout at Michigan Stadium as the Illini from Illinois come out onto the tartan turf surface. Illinois 3-3-1 overall and 3-1 in the Big Ten under first-year head coach Mike White. And welcome back, everybody. I'm Al Michaels, joined now by Ara Parsegian. And Ara, when you coached at Northwestern, you came into this stadium, which is the biggest in college football. Some interesting climatic conditions prevailing here in terms of the wind in particular. What's it like to bring a team into Michigan Stadium?
Well, Al, I was always concerned when I brought my teams in here because aerodynamically there's no place for the wind to escape from. It comes out of the northwest, comes down the sideline, swirls around, and at the ground level the wind is blowing in one direction, and at the upper levels in another direction, and it's very tricky for the kicking game as well as the passing game, which Eli and I are hoping to place our hopes on.
We talked extensively about Dave Wilson and what he did last week. We know he can pass. He'll be going against the Michigan defense that Bo Schembechler is a little concerned with to this point.
Well, I wonder how many of you would know who the leading team defensively in the nation was in the decades of the 70s. Well, if you said Michigan, and here they come onto the field, you're right. They only gave up 106 yards rushing per game and only 8 points per game. And that is fantastic, but the 80s is starting out a little different for them. They're giving up more yardage, 280 yards a game, but they're giving up 17-plus points a game. And, of course, that's the big problem because the Illini have a great passing attack, and they've been giving up 152 yards a game, and that is the difference between the Michigan defense of yesteryear and this year.
The Wolverines 4-2 overall, 3-0 in the Big Ten. Michigan and Illinois, the kickoff coming up right after this. As you can see over the years, Michigan has dominated in this series. Last year, the final score was 27-7. Interestingly enough, that was the final score after a scoreless first half in Champaign. It's been a long time since Illinois has defeated Michigan, to be specific, 1966. And since Bo Schembechler became the head coach at Michigan, he has not lost to the Illini, defeating them 11 consecutive times. For Mike White, the rookie head coach, rookie in terms of coaching at Illinois, this, of course, the first time he has faced Michigan. Mike coming over from the University of California. He was the head coach there for 6 years and spent the last 2 years as an assistant coach with the San Francisco 49ers. Illinois winning the toss, electing to receive, dropping back deep for the Illini. Mike Martin will be the man in the middle, flanked by Greg Dentino and Joe Miles. Ali Haji Sheikh, not from Saudi Arabia, gang, but he's from Arlington, Texas, actually born in Ann Arbor, to kick things off for Michigan. So the Wolverines, in quest of their 4th consecutive victory after beginning the season with a record of 1-2. More than 100,000 looking on in Ann Arbor, and here we go. A good kick. Martin backing up, takes it 2 yards deep. Out to the 10. It's a great block, 15, and upended at the 21-yard line by Paul Gergash. So the Illini going with Dave Wilson, the junior out of Fullerton, California. Junior with a question mark following. Mike Murphy, the fullback, the junior from Chicago. Mike Holmes has been their leading ground gainer. It is not an awesome ground attack, however. John Lopez is one wide receiver, and Greg Dentino from Peoria is the other. From the 21, the Illini 1st and 10. Long count by Wilson. Immediately going to the air. Last week, 425 yards, but an inauspicious beginning today. Robert Thompson comes in for the sack, number 99. Offensively, Mike Sherrod is the tight end. Mike White is still very high on Sherrod despite his problems. Tim Norman, the right tackle. Mike Carrington out of Chicago on the right side. Greg Bakey, one of the Bakey twins, the center. Marty Finnis, the left guard from South Palatine. Mulcrone is the left tackle. And after a loss back to the 12, it is 2nd down and 19. Draw. Good hole for Murphy, but it closes in a hurry as he gets out to the 16-yard line. The Michigan defense, Owens, Turgovac's a good one. They've got Shaw in the middle, Caraway, one defensive tackle, and Thompson, the outside linebacker, 99. Gergash Canavino is the key man defensively, leads the team in tackles. Bostic, Carpenter, Body, and Jackson the secondary.
Don't step up.
3rd down, 15, with the ball at the 17-yard line. Lopez split left, Martin split right, and again they stay on the ground, and Holmes doesn't fool anybody. Wrapped up at the line of scrimmage. So Dave Wilson throws one pass and then 2 draws. Winford Caraway made the stop, and Illinois to kick.
excellent series for Michigan. I did see a lack of experience in Wilson, even though he had a great day last year. On that opening play when he didn't have anyone open, he looks like there's someone down on the field there. He should have thrown the ball away out of bounds, so he came up with 2nd and 10 rather than he came up with 3rd and 18 or 19.
The injured Wolverine is Mike Turgovac, a man they can ill afford to lose, a senior from Bostontown, Ohio. Turgovac has started in 25 consecutive games over the last 3 years, but hurt on the first series. So timeout on the field, a minute 37 into the game, no score. We'll be right back. Turgovac still down on the tartan turf surface here, and let's see if we can detect what happened. He's number 77.
Here he comes in on the right side of the screen. He makes the tackle, assists on it. Now watch as he turns. He gets his legs locked underneath. 3 other Michigan players in on the tackle, come down on their own player, Turgovac.
For Michigan, number 1, Anthony Carter.
And while we watch the replay, Turgovac getting up and walking off.
Hey, he's one of their great players, I'll tell you. He played noseman last year, moved over to tackle now, and as I was looking at film, he's been one of their steadiest performers this year.
Looks like he should be able to make it back in. The Illini, meanwhile, will have to punt. Raw day here in Ann Arbor. Cold front moving in over the past 36 hours, 43 degrees. The temperature at kickoff. Kurt Bostrom, a sophomore from Wheaton, Illinois, to punt. Anthony Carter back deep. A low line drive kick and a fair catch called for by the up man, Evan Cooper, at the 49-yard line. So Michigan taking over there after a 34-yard punt. John Wangler out of Royal Oak, the quarterback. Stan Edwards is the fullback, number 32. Butch Woolfolk, the tailback, with Alan Mitchell, one wide receiver. He's a good one. And, of course, Anthony Carter will make a few All-America teams this year, the other wide receiver. Carter comes out wide to the right, and Mitchell splits to the left, out of the eye on first down from the Wolverine 49-yard line. Woolfolk over right guard, taking it to the Illini 47. Don Thorpe makes the tackle. Up front for Michigan, the man who will lead the way. And we'll take a look at them before the next play. The offensive line. 2nd down, 6 from the 47-yard line. No score. Just the start of things at Ann Arbor. Fred Brockington in the game in a wide receiver spot. He is split to the right. Wangler giving it to Woolfolk over the left side, and Woolfolk picks up 4 to the 43-yard line, where it will be 3rd down, 2.5. Bubba Parrish, one offensive tackle. John Powers, the left guard, 258-pounder. George Lilja, a fine center, 255. Kurt Becker at right guard weighs in at 252. Ed Moransky, 274, the junior. Norm Betts, the tight end, number 82. 3rd down and a long 2 at the Illini 43-yard line. Michigan with a double tight end set up, and they give it to Woolfolk again, and he picks up the first down as he gets to the 38-yard line. So Butch with 3 carries, picking up the first. Tyrone Worthy making the tackle. Defensively for the Illini, Rogers, Dwyer. Mark Butkus is the nephew of Dick Butkus, number 53, and Thorpe. Scarcelli, Gillen, the man in the middle, number 38, is one to watch. George, Edwards, Zerbo, and Worthy comprise the secondary. First down, Michigan at the Illini 38-yard line. No score, early first quarter. Wangler giving to Edwards, first man through, and he gets to the 35. Jack Squirick making the tackle. So, Harry, the Wolverines have been going to the air a lot of late, but today their first 4 plays all on the ground.
Got good field position. Woolfolk, as a matter of fact, was hurt last week. He is wearing a flak jacket, and he appears to have taken the earlier blows when he ran the ball very well. So he should be okay.
We'll see Woolfolk alternating with Lawrence Ricks, 46, at the tailback spot. 2nd down, 7 from the 35-yard line. Woolfolk again runs into his own man and then slides to the outside, getting to the 33-yard line. So he turns no gain into a gain of about 3, and it will be 3rd down and 4 from the 33-yard line.
You can see he looks a little bulky around the middle area. That's that flak jacket. They worked with it during the week, to make sure that he wouldn't fumble the ball, because that bulk there makes a little different feel as you carry the ball. And he did very well with it. I talked to him yesterday. He says it's a little cumbersome, but hasn't slowed him down.
Woolfolk has been averaging 5 yards a carry this season. 3rd down, 4 from the 33-yard line. Wangler to the air for the first time. Carter is wide open, takes it at the 15, and they run him out at the 9. David Edwards, the freshman from Decatur, Georgia, making the stop. A tough man to cover.
Sorry, Al. I think there was a defensive error on this play, because Carter comes right down the field. The right corner, I think it's Dave Edwards, stays right on Mitchell. And you can see there, Carter, nobody around him. And generally when you have that, there comes Edwards, number 27, back in to make the play. It generally is a defensive error, yet the play was well executed.
24-yard pickup, ball spotted just inside the 9. 1st and goal, Michigan. Woolfolk to the 8, maybe the 7. Mark Butkus, number 53, just a freshman out of Lansing, Illinois. Pretty good bloodlines, huh?
And playing very well.
A look at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, situated about 35 miles west of Detroit. They pack it every week. 34th consecutive sellout. 2nd down, goal from the 8. Edwards, big hole in the middle, and Edwards pulls his way down inside the 1.
Well executed trap play. Edwards got a nice hole in there. The left guard pulled, made a good trap on the defensive tackle. Let's take a look at it right here. See the left guard pulls right across, does a great job of trapping. Edwards gets good leverage in there because he has daylight, comes very close to the goal line.
John Powers leading the way with a good block. 3rd down and goal from the 1. Woolfolk tries to get in and does. Touchdown. Delayed call by the linesman, but he broke the plane to the goal line. And Butch Woolfolk has given Michigan a 6-0 lead. So they move very steadily after the punt by the Illini off the first series and lead by 6.
Just powering in here. He gives that second effort, gets that ball across the line. He breaks the plane. And the first score for the Illini, for Michigan against the Illini.
Ali Haji Sheik to attempt the point after. Rich Hewlett, one of the Wolverine quarterbacks, to hold. Haji Sheik's kick is good. 8 minutes and 48 seconds remaining in the first quarter at Ann Arbor. It is Michigan 7 and Illinois nothing. Michigan moving methodically. 51 yards, 9 plays, the 1 pass, the 24-yard pass from Wangler to Carter. Woolfolk takes it in. 4:13 the elapsed time, and we have 8:48 to go in the first quarter. Michigan leading 7-0. Ali Haji Sheik to kick off for the Wolverines. A much improved kicking game this year for Michigan. Last year it really cost them both playing and place kicking, and Haji Sheik boots it through the end zone. So the Illini with their second possession now. They'll start things from the 20-yard line. Illinois, one thing about Illinois, Aaron, not only improved in terms of record. Last year, remember, 2-8-1. This year, 3-3-1. But playing very exciting football. They really got champagne stirred up.
They sure have. They've had some good games, and don't count them out of this contest. They can throw the ball.
Dave Wilson, the quarterback, on first down from the 20. Holmes slicing through for about 2 out to the 22. It's figured that Mike White would instill a passing offense. White, of course, was at Cal when Steve Bartkowski was there, when the late Joe Roth was there. Then for the last 2 years, Mike was under Bill Walsh, generally regarded as an offensive genius, the head coach of the San Francisco 49ers. And last week, of course, it paid off for Wilson with 425 yards as you look at Dave's numbers for the season. 2nd down, 8 from the 22. This time, 3 wide receivers. They go to trips on the left side, but pitch it back to Greg Foster.
Well, it's interesting to see what's happening here with the Illinois team. Mike White told me, he said they're going to try to hang in this game because most teams have done pretty well in the early going against Michigan, even though they gave up a touchdown. They're being very conservative in these both of these first two series.
Third down and 8. Trips to the right this time.
Should put it up.
They realign Murphy. Send him out to the left. Everybody goes into the pattern, and he's going deep down the sideline, but incomplete, intended for Cam Benson. So again, the Illini forced to punt, and Michigan should take over in pretty good position.
Well, I was surprised they didn't go for a possession pass that time rather than go for a big sideline bomb. They're going to relinquish the ball to Michigan, and they've got Carter back there, one of the most exciting players, I think, playing college football today.
Kirk Bostrom, his average this season, 36.6. He's had one block, and his longest has been 53. Low, end-over-end bouncing kick, angling toward the near side. Michigan letting it roll, and the Illini touching it at the 36-yard line. 42-yard kick that time, most of it on the ground. This is the first half of our NCAA doubleheader. Coming up next, most of you will see Navy against Washington from Seattle. You'll see a good quarterback there in Tom Flick. Some of you will see Furman against Appalachian State or Massachusetts against Boston University. That's the second half of our college football doubleheader. First down, Michigan from the 36-yard line. Edwards, big hole right side to the 40 and out to the 44-yard line for a gain of 8. John Venegoni, number 7, making the tackle.
This is the kind of drive I'm sure that Bo Schembechler loves. Possession of the ball, grinding it out, and then it sets up your run action passes as it did in that first drive. I'm sure he likes what's happening thus far. Defense playing well. Here's a look again. He fakes the ball and then slips the ball back to Edwards, who can play either tailback or fullback and is a very strong runner. And they pick up about 8 yards, 9 yards on the play.
It'll be second down 2. Officials time here. Jerry Hendrickson, the referee today. Don Mason, the umpire. Richard Weiler, the head linesman. Tom Hoffman,
looks like we're starting to get a little drizzle out there, and of course the inclement weather favors the team with the best rushing, and certainly that's Michigan.
It's coming down now to complete the official alignment. Kemmerling, the field judge. Klein, the back judge. Second down 2 from the 44-yard line. Woolfolk, first down into Illini territory, 35 to the 30, and bumped out of bounds at the 25-yard line by Karub Taylor, number 30.
Well, they're really blocking up front. The offensive line, the strength of this Michigan team. Reverses pivots, gives the ball to Woolfolk. Look at that daylight in there. Just an isolation play. You've got a good shot of Woolfolk carrying the ball and running down the sideline. But I'll tell you this, you've got to credit that offensive line. They did a super job.
In particular, 65, Kurt Becker, who took out Dan Grigas on the play. 6:22 to go in the quarter. Michigan leading 7-0. And on first down from the 25, Wangler with good protection. Looking for Carter. Anthony is there. Touchdown, Wolverines. With his 28th catch of the year, he's averaging about 15 yards per reception. And that's his 15th career touchdown pass.
And his 8th of the year, I believe. I'll tell you, you can't stay one-on-one on him. They're trying to cover him one-on-one. It's just impossible. He is so fluid.
Haji Sheik for the extra point. And it's good. So 2 possessions and 2 touchdowns for Michigan. 6:16 to go in the quarter. 14-0 Wolverines.
There you see it from an end zone shot. Wangler just comes back, makes a very ordinary fake to Woolfolk. And here you'll see out here Carter all by himself, having defeated the defender. Look at here. He just put a move on him, and he was into the end zone. You never ever see the defender here. Here's another look at it. Carter is such an all-purpose football player. Down he goes. Now watch him put a head fake on, look to the inside, and break to the outside. Number 27, Dave Edwards, cannot stay with him. Wangler leads him to the sideline and in for a score. Boy, I'd hate to cover that guy.
Anthony Carter. Carter is just a sophomore.
That's right.
Riviera Beach, Florida.
Well, Bo told me yesterday, he said, you can just count on it, all purpose. He said, be 135 yards or more. That's his average per game.
Ali Haji kicking. Martin fielding from the 3 to the 10, 15, and dumped at the 17-yard line. Martin with a 14-yard run back. Jerry Burgeye making the tackle. So a minute 3, just 3 plays. Michigan going 64 yards. We have 6:10 to play in the quarter, and the Illini are already down by 14.
Well, that's been the Illini's biggest problem is defense. As you well know, they've had a lot of injuries in addition to that. And of course, Purdue jumped out 17-0 last week, and Illini had to play catch-up.
Wayne Strader in at running back as Wilson goes to the air on first down. Has a man open over the middle, and he catches the tip pass. It's Strader who gets to midfield.
How about that?
Break for the Illini off the hands of
almost
defensive linebackers.
Almost an interception. Turns out to be a reception and a big gainer. Comes back to the pocket. They're only putting on a 3-man rush. Rolls out to the right. That's Cannavino right there.
Yep.
Just goes through his hands. Number 41 there. Strader picks it off and starts down the right sideline. A big gainer and a big break for the Illini.
First down for Illinois at their own 49-yard line. 1st and 10. Wilson off the fake. Looking for Martin. He's open, but the pass is overthrown. Martin skirting the sideline. Marion Body back to cover on the play.
Had him open there, and I watched Wilson right after he threw the ball. He knew that he had thrown it a little bit long. Just like a guy that feels like he's hit a putt wrong. He knows that it's going to be just a little short or a little bit off the mark, and that's exactly, Wilson knew he had one if he'd hit him.
2nd and 10 for Illinois at their own 49-yard line. Cal Thomas is now the sole running back in this set. Michigan leading 14-0. Andy Cannavino making the stop, and we may have a face mask penalty. Flag is dropped. Calvin Thomas picking up 2 on the play, but a marker down, and the face mask call against Michigan.
It's interesting because Wilson seemed to see it before anybody else from his vantage point, which was not exactly the best. He was the quarterback that handed the ball off, but he immediately saw that there was a mask infraction.
We have it as we isolate on Cannavino. Andy, the guilty party here. 41.
Obviously inadvertent. He comes in, spins back off a great defensive play, but he reaches out to tackle with his back to the ball carrier and inadvertently grabs the mask.
First down, Illini at the Michigan 34-yard line. Holmes close to the 30-yard line. Paul Gergash making the tackle. Holmes, number 5, top ground gainer for Illinois, averaging 5 yards a pickup this season. Coming into today's game, he had gained 244 yards in the first 7 games of the season.
You know, I think, Al, this is his first start since that Michigan State game where he got hurt. And he had this knee, and they say he's healthy again, but he's missed a lot of football.
2nd down and 7 from the 31-yard line. Holmes now slots to the left, inside Lopez. Wilson looking for Lopez. And Lopez can't hold on. It looked for a moment as if he would for the touchdown. Brian Carpenter was back covering on the play, but John dropped it.
Boy, that was a tremendous effort. It looked like it was going to be intercepted there by Brian Carpenter, number 9. You see, he's well covered here. The ball is thrown. Now Lopez steps inside of Carpenter, almost makes what it would have been a fantastic touchdown catch. Lopez is an outstanding receiver.
3rd down and 7. Illinois at the Michigan 31. 4:27 remaining first quarter. Michigan leading 14-0. Wilson dropping back 3rd and 7, faking one way, swinging out the other to Murphy inside the 20, the 15, and Murphy takes it to about the 9-yard line where Tony Jackson makes the tackle. Mike Murphy out of the Don Nottingham mold.
Beautiful executed screen, a play that I love to see in college football. I'd like to see it more often. You see here's Canavino, number 41, and Gergash, number 50, the linebackers. Watch him faked out here by the fake by Wilson. Now he turns and goes back. Now he's in poor position. He's blocked there by a lineman, and good running here and a well-executed screen.
1st and goal from the 9-yard line. Holmes takes it to the 5. It'll be 2nd and goal. Gergash and Keith Bostic making the tackle. It's not been the best of series for Andy Canavino. That tip pass to begin with and the face mask penalty, and then taken out of the play.
Oh, I'll tell you, if he had intercepted that ball, and of course Michigan would have been able to put together another drive as they have in the first 2, this game would have been out of sight, 21-0. But just a little error like that, or a misplay, and you see what's happening.
Instead, the Illini knocking at the door, trying to have the lead. 2nd and goal. Wilson has a man wide open for the touchdown. Mike Sherrod, the tight end, got loose on an out pattern, and it's 14-6. So the Illini come storming right back.
I'll tell you, that was a well-executed drive by the Illinois team. They ran the ball well, passed it well, executed that screen to make a good run action fake to Holmes. Wilson rolls out slightly to the right. And as you see here, 81, Mike Sherrod is wide open, coming clear from the left side. Someone missed the coverage.
14-6. Mike Bass to attempt the point after. Lance Hofer holding. Bass has been perfect on his placements this year, 17 of 17 in the extra point department, and add one more, 18 straight. For the son of Tom Bass, assistant coach under John McKay with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 3:16 to go in the quarter. Michigan 14, Illinois 7. At Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Al Michaels, Ara Parsegian, Bill Fleming here. 14-7. Michigan on top. The Illini storming back, going 83 yards, 8 plays. Took them exactly 3 minutes. Sherrod scoring the touchdown. We have 3:16 to go in the first quarter.
Unbelievable. We have 3 touchdowns, and the game is still 3:16, as you pointed out. And there's a light drizzle falling, and it's cold, but they're really executing.
No 3 yards in a cloud of tartan turf today.
No, sir. No defensive battle.
That's Carter, number 1, back with Edwards, 32, as Bass kicks off. Carter sneaking in back of Edwards. Obviously, what Michigan wants to do is have Anthony go to where the ball is and have Edwards set up as the blocker, but the kick is short and is fielded up at the 14-yard line to the 20 and out to the 26-yard line. Gerald Ingram, the second-string fullback and one of the short men on the kick return team, setting up Michigan there. 1st and 10 Wolverines.
Nice controlled kickoff. I'll tell you this, I wouldn't want to kick that ball to Carter. They dumped the ball off to the right a little bit short, so Carter couldn't get it, and allow someone else to run it. I don't think I'd ever kick to Carter. He's really a dangerous runner.
If you watched our pregame show, you saw what he did against Notre Dame, running back the second half, kickoff 67 yards. First down, Michigan from the Wolverine 26. Woolfolk hit back of the line of scrimmage and dropped at the 20-yard line by Dan Grigas, who had him wrapped up. Number 92, a sophomore from Hickory Hills, Illinois.
Well, he's probably one of the bigger guys right there, number 92, 6'5", 240, playing at the defensive left tackle. Actually, they call it an end because they look the pro look. He comes straight across, gets a lot of penetration before Woolfolk can get any power, and it's a negative yardage play.
They spot it up at the 22-yard line, so the loss is 4. Second down and 14. Wangler giving it on a draw to Woolfolk to the 30-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 7. Ernest Adams making the tackle. Interesting in terms of the quarterback, John Wangler of Michigan era. He was hurt last year. Remember the Gator Bowl game, and it looked like he was not only done for the night, it looked like his career was over. Knee surgery, but back he's come.
He had one of the more serious type of knee injuries. Just by dedication and hard work during the entire year, rehabilitating it, he's out there running this club, doing an excellent job.
3rd down, 6 from the 30. Wangler with good protection. He's got Carter open, and Anthony can't make the catch. David Edwards was covering on the play, so he'll have to kick as you look at Bo Schembechler.
Had him wide open. Carter was wide open, and looked like it was going to be another reception for a 1st down. I don't know whether the ball was just a little overthrown or whether Carter just couldn't quite get to it.
Michigan kicking for the first time. Don Bracken, a freshman, number 28. They recruited Bracken from Thermopolis, Wyoming, to shore up what was a terrible kicking game last year, and he's done a good job. He's averaging better than 44 yards a kick, and this is a good one. Martin dropping it, bouncing off his knee, and it's loose at the 37, and Michigan has the football.
You can see here that Bracken kicks the ball very nicely. Martin comes up, looks like he has good position to field the ball, comes right through his hands onto his knee, bounces forward, and of course the Wolverines recover, and it's a big break for Michigan.
Tom Dixon, number 69, was the man who recovered, and so the Wolverines have it at the Illinois 36-yard line. 1:37 to play, 1st quarter. Michigan leading 14-7. Light rain falling, mix up in the backfield. Woolfolk can't get on track and is dropped at just about the line of scrimmage by Jack Squirick, the outside linebacker, 34.
Well, I would have guessed that Bo would go ahead and muscle the ball in because of the field position, but now he's confronted with a 2nd and 10, and I would guess draw or pass on this play. That sprint draw or the pass. 4-down area, he likes to run it in there.
They've changed tailbacks. Lawrence Ricks coming in to replace Woolfolk, who's been a busy man. Butch has carried the ball 10 times for 53 yards. So Ricks, 46, is the eye back on 2nd and 10 from the 36-yard line.
One-on-one on Carter. There he goes.
Carter can't make the catch, but we've got a penalty marker down. David Edwards, just a freshman, number 27 out of Decatur, Georgia. He's going to have nightmares before this one is over.
No way you can stay on him one-on-one. They need deep support as a free safety to shelter him because Carter just runs right away from you. Let's see if we can detect this. We've got an isolation on it. Here he comes. Little head fake to the outside. Breaks inside. He's got the step on Edwards. Let's see. Edwards goes up over top. Let's see whether he bumps him prior to the reception. Apparently, they called him for his right arm on the shoulder. Thin, but it's an interference call.
Just grazed him,
yep,
if anything. 1st and 10, Michigan at the Illinois 12-yard line. Ricks carrying for the first time, gains a yard to the 11. It'll be 2nd down and 9. Ernest Adams, 37, the middle backer, making the tackle. Number 46, Lawrence Ricks from Barberton, Ohio.
I think that you just absolutely cannot cover Carter one-on-one. I've seen a lot of great receivers, but I'll tell you this, Carter is a sophomore. He just has always gone the opposite direction. He needs some sheltering help.
Woolfolk back in at tailback, 2nd and 9. Woolfolk takes the pitch to the outside, gets to the 10, and that's all. He's dropped there, and that will do it for the 1st quarter. John Gillen, number 38. Leading the Illini in tackles, was the man who made the stop, and there's the gun to end the 1st quarter. So in a light drizzle in Ann Arbor, through 1 quarter, it's Michigan 14, Illinois 7. And we'll be back in just a moment. Start the 2nd quarter in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Al Michaels, Aaron Parsegian, Bill Fleming. 14-7, Michigan on top. Mike White, in his first year at Illinois, took over for Gary Moeller, who is now back at Michigan, coaching the quarterbacks. 3rd down and 8 from the 10-yard line as we start the 2nd quarter. Wangler putting it up, and the throw is low and incomplete. Anthony Carter covered by David Edwards.
He had him in there. He just threw the ball into the ground and behind him. puts that move on to the inside. Edwards comes breaking back in. You can see Carter here open if he gives him the proper lead. But you see the ball is thrown low and behind him. No chance.
Ali Haji from the 17-yard line attempting a 27-yard field goal at an angle, and the kick is good.
Well, what an improvement in the Michigan kicking game from one year to the next. Last year it was one thing after the other. Blocked kicks, missed field goals, just all kinds of things. Now their kicking game is really solid.
Haji Sheik has now kicked 8 of 10 this season. That one from 27 yards. So Mike White has watched his Illini drop to a 17-7 deficit, with Michigan getting set to kick off. A reminder, coming up tomorrow night, a special Sunday edition of Monday Night Football. It'll be a good one. From Irving, Texas, the San Diego Chargers taking on the Dallas Cowboys. That's tomorrow, Sunday, 9 Eastern time on ABC. Seven seconds into the second quarter, the Michigan Wolverines in quest of their 4th consecutive victory and trying to stay unbeaten in the conference on top 17-7. Haji Sheik kicking off, and Martin will make the catch in the end zone and down it there. They'll come out to the 20. Take a look at the numbers now through the first period.
Well, you see Michigan with first downs 5-3. Total yardage doubled, 121 for Michigan to 66. Turnover was a little costly to Illinois because it led to a field goal. Possession time, Michigan, but certainly they dominated that half, both running and passing. But Illinois came back with a nice drive. Let's see what happens in this second quarter.
1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Murphy and Strader are the running backs. Dave Wilson, the quarterback. Off the fake, goes over the middle, complete out to the 30-yard line to Lee Bakey, and he advances to the 37. Mel Owens making the tackle. Lee Bakey, number 80, the tight end, and Greg Bakey, 63, the center. Twins. Seniors out of Winnebago, Illinois.
You know, that touchdown pass by Mike Sherrod was the first one by either tight end, either Bakey or Sherrod. But they've caught a lot of passes, 22 or 3 between them.
Trips to the right this time on 1st and 10 at the 36-yard line. Murphy to the 40, to the 45, and out to the 47-yard line. Robert Thompson making the tackle.
Well, you see a little draw play. They're deployed with 3 receivers out to the side. The Michigan defense is deployed to rush with 3 people. You see the linebacker, number 50, Girgash, run out of there. There's Canavino coming off of a block, but misses the tackle. Girgash coming back in to make the play. It's a tough offense, particularly when you got a great passer and you're mixing them up.
First down for the Illini at their own 47-yard line. Michigan leading 17-7 early in the second quarter. Trips to the right. Wilson complete to the 50-yard line, and Dentino gets ripped there by Keith Bostic after a gain of about 3.
Good reactions by Bostic. Little delay pattern coming underneath that generally you can pick up good yardage, but Bostic read it well, came up and knocked him down.
Ball at the 50, 2nd down and 7. Wilson is now 5 out of 8 for 79 yards. Wilson dumps it off on the intended screen for Holmes. The play never had a chance to materialize.
A little quick screen out there. They read the defense, knew that they were coming, and that would have been a gainer had he been able to complete the pass. Good little quick screen, and he checked it off at the line.
Mel Owens, the man responsible for Michigan thwarting that play as he put the pressure on Wilson.
Bo's been getting good play out of his defensive outside backers or ends. That's Owens and Thompson.
3rd and 7 from the 50. Wilson going over the middle, but overthrows the intended receiver. He had 2 men in the area. Dentino was there, and also Wayne Strader. So 4th down, and the Illini to punt.
Well, here's another strong suit by Carter, his ability to return punts. Bostrom and his other punts have been real low and away from Carter.
Bostrom with his third kick of the day. And this is his best effort thus far. Carter fields at the 10. Look at those moves. At the 18-yard line. 41-yard punt, 8-yard return, 13-17 remaining in the half. Michigan 17, Illinois 7. Back in Ann Arbor, Michigan, before more than 100,000 at Michigan Stadium. Very light drizzle right now. Michigan has it at its own 18-yard line. First and 10. Wolverines lead 17-7. John Wangler, the quarterback. Edwards, the first man through, and the fullback takes it out to the 22-yard line. Dave Dwyer, number 49, making the tackle. Dwyer playing a defensive tackle spot. Where's number 49? Because he came to Illinois as a fullback. So just kept the original number.
Bo is sticking with what he said in the pre-game activity. He's a power running team and a passing team. And thus far, it's put 17 points on the board.
At the Michigan 23, it's second down and 6. Woolfolk to the 28, close to a first down. I think he's a little shy. Joe Miles, number 35, the safety, made the stop. They'll line it up.
They're calling it a little short.
That's probably Illinois calling it a little short. But it is. White, and the other man is Chip Myers, one of the assistant coaches under Mike and the former receiver with the Cincinnati Bengals. Some good years under Paul Brown at Cincy.
See if they deploy in a goal line defense to shut down the short yard. Yes, they are. They got single coverage on Carter.
3rd and inches. Woolfolk has the first down as he takes it out close to the 31-yard line. Mark Butkus, the freshman, number 53, making the tackle.
Well, I would bet when they get down into field position inside the 40-yard line that they'll go for a run action pass and go for the bomb with Carter the next time.
1st and 10 from the 31. Michigan, Ohio State, and Purdue all unbeaten coming into play this weekend in the Big Ten at 3-0. Look at Schembechler. Edwards, quick burst. Edwards to the 50, then loses the ball. It's loose at the 30, and Illinois recovers. David Edwards, number 27, makes the recovery. So Edwards, unmolested, just lost the handle, and a big break for Illinois.
That's the strangest thing that I've seen in a long time. He's on his way to the goal line. The short man, number 32, Edwards, pops through a nice opening. Tackle is missed there by number 35, John Gillen. There the ball just popped right out of his forearm. And Illinois recovers the football. That was a very strange way to lose the football.
They credit Gillen with a fumble recovery after he had lost it initially. He picks it up back in the 27-yard line, so Wilson in the offense. 1st and 10 from the 27. Dave going immediately in the air. Has to scramble out of the pocket. Looking downfield. Throwing complete out to the 47-yard line to Greg Dentino for the first down.
Boy, he really rifled that ball in there.
So Dave Wilson picking up the first out to the 48 as we take a look at the fumble again.
Here he is in the right arm. He's swinging the ball. There it is, ball still in his arm there. Now there it pops out. It's just one of those things that might have gotten a little wet or he got a little careless. But it's not the kind of thing that makes his coach Schembechler very pleased.
First down, Illinois from the 48. 10:59 to go in the half. Michigan leading by 10. Good protection for Wilson. And nobody's there. Nobody at all was there. Dave just thrown it out of bounds.
Now, that's one of the things I alluded to earlier in the ball game when the first play, when he went back, Wilson went back, didn't find any open receivers, took negative yardage of 9 yards, got to about 11, Now he didn't have anyone open. He unloaded the ball, threw it out of bounds. Now he has 2nd and 10 rather than 2nd and 19. Good move.
Dave completing 50% of his passes thus far. And his next completion will put him into triple figures. Cal Thomas in at a running back spot, along with Holmes. 2nd and 10. Wilson to Holmes into Michigan territory and dumped at the 44-yard line, setting up what will be a 3rd and short, 3rd and 2 or 3 upcoming.
Well, they have that, they screened it, every time they've screened has been to the short side of the field. They have some penalty here of some sort.
Now they're going to wave off what might have been a flag, inadvertently dropped.
Yeah, that's what it is. Inadvertent. He tips his hat. It's an inadvertent whistle.
No penalty. So the ball spotted at the 43, make it 3rd down, 1.5 yards to go.
Let's see if Michigan deploys to a goal line defense or short yardage defense or plays it straight up. Looks like they're playing it straight up. They might pinch down to the inside, though.
Double tight end set up. 3rd and a little more than 1 yard. Holmes diving. We've got a penalty marker thrown in the backfield. Looks like Holmes got the first, but a marker is thrown.
Looked like the left end jumped offside offensively. I couldn't see who that tight end was. I didn't know whether it was Bakke or Sherrod.
Illegal motion is the call. Sherrod.
I think that's who it was.
Penalty against Illinois, illegal motion.
That's the call. Illegal motion. Sherrod jumping. That cost him a 1st down. Moves it back to the Michigan 49-yard line, where it will be 3rd down and 6.
Mike.
Well, go to the air. They don't hustle along here. They're going to wind up with a delay of game penalty. They mark the ball ready, and the clock starts immediately.
3rd and 6. Illinois at the Michigan 49. Wilson again protected well and incomplete. The intended receiver was double covered. Lee Bakke had no chance that time.
Good coverage that time by Michigan. Excellent coverage. He had no one open.
Cannavino and Jackson were the men who double teamed him. So it's 4th down, and Kirk Bostrom in to punt again. Mike White, head coach at Illinois, 44 years old. His club 3-3-1 coming in. Bostrom to kick. Anthony Carter is back deep at the 10-yard line. Carter signals for the fair catch and lets it bounce through the end zone for the touchback. So 48-yard punt, but only 28 net. We have 9 minutes and 23 seconds left of the half. Michigan 17 and Illinois 7. Mike White, head coach at Illinois in his first year. The man on the left.
Come on, defense!
Talked about Dave Wilson, of course, chronicled that story in our pregame show. Mike feels that part of the problem is that he came from the Pac-10, where, of course, they've had a lot of problems, and that conference has been reduced, in essence, this year to the Pac-5. And he thinks that's, in good measure, responsible for the hassling that Illinois has gotten this year. Wangler on 1st down, dropping it off to the 27-yard line to Norm Betts, the tight end, who gets about 8. Karuk Taylor making the tackle.
I knew we'd see that play. They hit that. Michigan hit that play last week against Minnesota about 8 times. It was incredible. The tight end kept crossing underneath. They fake a run action pass. Betts will come from the right to the left. You see Wangler go back, look to the right, then turn. Here comes Betts cross, wide open over here to this sideline, and picks up, what was it, 8 yards?
Close to 8. 2nd down, about 2.5. Gerald Ingram in at fullback, number 35. The I-back is Woolfolk. The fake to Woolfolk. And Wangler going deep. Carter is open again. Takes it at the 40-yard line, and Carter gets down to the 28. He beat Joe Miles on the play, number 35. Dave Edwards also back there covering, and there's no way today, apparently, they're going to be able to cover Anthony Carter, number 1.
Well, they try to delay him here. You watch Dave Edwards try to delay him here at about 7 or 8 yards deep. Right there. He just runs right by him. The free safety does not get over to help him. And he's wide open down here. Had plenty of time. If the ball had been led far enough, Carter had never caught Carter. But you see here, Zerbel, it was Joe Miles, that came over too late to help.
First down, Michigan at the 28-yard line. Ingram to the 22. Jerry Ingram out of Beaver, Pennsylvania, 6'1", 217-pound sophomore. Anthony Carter today, a couple of receptions, including one for a touchdown.
Need something? How'd you like to be a defensive back and spend all afternoon covering him one-on-one? Woo! With no sheltering help.
And only a sophomore will be around through 82. Second down and 5 from the 23-yard line. Wangler looking Carter's way again. Anthony has it, steps out of bounds at the 7-yard line, first and goal. Anthony Carter, 5'11". He's only 161 pounds from Riviera Beach, Florida.
Edwards takes him from the inside, Carter goes outside. Edwards takes him outside, he goes inside. Here it is, puts the move, goes to the outside. Wangler makes a very fine throw here, leads him perfectly. Look at that ball come right in to the numbers. Beautiful throw.
First and goal at the 7, 7:28 to go to the half. Michigan leading by 10. Ingram down to close to the 1. That's where they'll mark his forward progress before he's pushed back.
Another trap play in there. Just trapped them in there. They got good hole, good strong running. And they're down to the 2-yard line.
Carter playing messenger here as Anthony comes in with a play from Schembechler.
Nothing fancy. Just pound that ball in there.
Second and goal. Woolfolk the tailback. Woolfolk the ball carrier. And stopped at the 1-yard line. Tony Scarselli making the tackle, number 95.
Well, they've got 2 downs yet to pound it in. I would venture to say that they'll try to muscle it in.
Third and goal. Play coming in from the bench.
Now Carter's going back. There is substitution problems.
They're almost caught with too many men on the field, but Wangler notices the problem, waits before he makes the call, and the touchdown by Ingram here to make it 23-7.
Well, they got everybody off the field in time there. There was a little confusion, and it'd be very untimely to draw a 5-yard penalty. Fortunately, they pulled it off. They got the ball into the end zone, and it's now Michigan 23, Illinois 7.
So the Wolverines with Ingram taking it in, on top by 16, going on 17. Ali Haji Sheikh, born in Ann Arbor, to attempt the extra point. His father was a student here at the University of Michigan, now teaches at University of Texas at Arlington, and Haji Sheikh's kick is good. 6:07 remaining in the second quarter at Michigan Stadium. The Wolverines 24 and the Illini 7. Michigan marching down the field 80 yards in 7 plays. Didn't take them very long either. Ingram going in for the score. And the Wolverines lead 24-7. 6:07 to go in the first half. Haji Sheikh's kick taken by Martin at the 2, to the 10, to the 20, to the 30, and dropped at the 38-yard line. Mike Martin tackled at the 38 in first and 10 for Illinois. Evan Cooper making the hit.
Boy, Cooper made a nice tackle that time. Looked like Martin was going to pop out of there, and Cooper came clear from the right side and did a good job. 37-yard return.
First down, Illini at the 38-yard line. Wilson fakes a screen, then screens the other way to Murphy. And Murphy takes it out to the 50 for a first down.
That's a play that's been successful for Illinois in this first half. They picked up a lot of yardage on the screen, take it one way and then come back. Wilson does a nice job of getting the linebackers and the defensive secondary moving one way as if he's going to pass, and then turns back and dumps the ball off.
Wilson, 8 out of 15 for 121 yards. Ball at the Michigan 49-yard line. First and 10.
Okay.
Murphy is the running back.
Go defense!
Wilson looking for Lopez and has him at the 32-yard line.
Well, that was a nice piece of work there by Lopez. Also a good throw. Here he is flanked out wide. Number 13, Lopez. Drives straight up the field. You see Sherrod, the tight end, coming off underneath him. Now he comes right back to the sideline. Body's right there. Now, yes, he's in very nicely. He stays right there. It's a good throw. It was away from the defender. Well-executed play.
First down, Illinois at the Michigan 32-yard line. 5:25 to go in the half. Michigan leading 24-7. Wilson complete to Dentino, who takes it down to the 12-yard line. Greg Dentino, number 19, a senior from Peoria, has caught a pass in every game this season.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Wilson's really humming that ball. Dentino looks like he's fairly well covered here. Just turns on a little look-in. Number 9, Brian Carpenter comes in. The ball is perfectly thrown away from Carpenter. And Dentino makes a good catch and runs the ball well. It's Wilson.
Dave Wilson, remember he had 425 last week. 343 of those in the second half alone. First and 10 from the 13-yard line.
Looks like a blitz. Man-to-man coverage.
They split the backs. Wilson off the long count. Slipping to the end zone and incomplete and broken up by number 3, Marion Body, as Lopez again was the intended receiver that time.
Well, that's that loop ball that they throw when they catch man-to-man. But Body did a nice job. He stays right with him here. If the ball had a little bit more air under it, a little longer, he would have gotten it, but still Body did a nice job defensively.
Second and 10 from the 13-yard line. 4:43 remaining in the half. On a cloudy, raw day. Game time temperature 43 degrees. Dentino in motion. And a whistle before the play gets off. So too much time.
Well, that transfer of information can be very costly. Teams that continue to send it in from the sideline, decision-making processes over there, if you don't act immediately, you take that kind of a risk, and we see it during the course of the year. Let's see whether or not they changed up or not. You see, as soon as that official marks that ball ready for play, the clock starts. He just wound it up now. They're going to have plenty of time this time.
By the way, Mike Turgovac back in the game, number 77. He was hurt early in the game. Back in at defensive tackle, number 77. Second down and 15. Wilson, complete to the 3-yard line to Lopez.
Well, nice throwback pattern. The thing that impresses me with Wilson is he really throws the ball like a rifle when he has to. Here you see Lopez coming down, fakes a look in, gets his defender moving in, turns back to the sideline. Watch that ball come in here from Wilson. That ball pops in there. Body comes in, makes the tackle at the 3-yard line.
That extra effort by Lopez netting him the first down. It's first and goal. The ball spotted at the 2-yard line. Mike White looking on, hoping his club can get back in it. They trail by 17, but they're knocking on the door. Strader. And he's in for the touchdown on a delayed call.
Very fine drive, and you can't say enough about Wilson's execution. Also, Lopez did a good job in that drive. Dentino did a very well executed job. Here's the touchdown. It just popped through there, crosses the plane. No question about that. Touchdown.
He went in behind John Mulcrone and Marty Finnish to make it 24-13. As Bass comes in to attempt the point after, Lance Holford to do the holding. Holford Bass trying to make his 19th straight out of Holford's hold, and he is successful. So 4 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the second quarter at Ann Arbor. Illinois is back in it. Wolverines leading by 10. 4 minutes, 8 seconds remaining in the first half. The Illini, they were down by 17, but they came back going 62 yards in 6 plays. Taking less than 2 minutes. Strader taking it in for the touchdown. It's 24-14 Michigan. A look around Michigan Stadium. Crowd today, 104,000.
Incredible. I think it's the 36th or 37th straight sellout. 4th?
34th. They will get 36 or 7 before the season's over, you know that. Every week.
Nice chat with Don Canham, the athletic director, this morning.
What a job they do here. Anthony Carter, they set up the return from the 5. He's got some blockers. The 20, but runs through the middle and is stopped out of the 25-yard line. John Benegoni makes the tackle.
He's an exciting runner.
You know, sometimes it almost seems if you have too much time on a play like that and you get all your blockers set up, you rarely get off that good return.
Yeah, timing is the key thing on those returns. Getting it all put together right. Look at those stats there. Number 1 team in the country, 104,331. Tell you, Tennessee is now seating around 95. We were there last, and they're going to increase it to over 100 and something.
First down, Michigan from the 25-yard line. Edwards takes it out to the 29. The interesting thing about this stadium is that it's not double-decked. They were telling me that when the initial plans were made, that it was a situation as we look around Michigan Stadium where they could, as you can see, double-deck this place someday if they ever wanted to. And who knows, you could put, 150, 175,000 in here.
That would be something. Of course, the cost would be astronomical today because you'd have to cantilever.
Sure. 2nd and 6 from the 30-yard line. Ricks is in at tailback. Again, it's Edwards. Big hole through the middle, and he takes it out to the 44-yard line. Joe Miles making the tackle. Stan Edwards from nearby Detroit, a senior, 6-footer, 205 pounds.
He can really pop through there. The step to the right, they got a little trap play. The right guard, number 65, the best offensive lineman, Kurt Becker, makes a great trap block. Edwards springs into the secondary. And I'll tell you, the running game of Michigan is very impressive.
First down, Wolverines at their own 44. Clock is running 3:03 to play in the half. Ricks on a misdirection into Illini territory. The 40, the 30, and out of bounds at the 25 as the flow went one way and Ricks went the other. Tyrone Worthy bumped him out of bounds.
Good counter play in there. Got everybody, all the linebackers, linemen going one way. Watch here. They'll fake the ball to Edwards and then slips the ball back to Ricks. Now he gets outside leverage because he got some blocking from the wideouts, and he's heading for the sideline. Well, I'll tell you that Farouk Taylor, I guess, no, he doesn't know it isn't Farouk Taylor that gets to him. It's Tyrone Worthy. Oh, they're really running that football.
First down from the 28-yard line. Michigan leading by 10. The fake, looking for Carter. Anthony is there to make the catch, and down he goes at the 16-yard line. Tyrone Worthy covering on that play.
Well, they had Tyrone Worthy on him that time, out on the wide side. Here it is, Carter singled up. Just drives off the line of scrimmage. He's so fluid. Wangler lays the ball out there. I believe they've got Tyrone Worthy going to try him. He's not in bad position. Ball was thrown slightly behind him. He barely gets him down. Another first down.
Here comes the rain again. He had some sprinkles in the first quarter, raining now again late in the second quarter. From the 16-yard line, Edwards is tripped up immediately. and lunges forward for a couple. Jack Squirick was the man who got a hand on the foot.
This is far from a 3-yard and a pile of distance. There's, of course, Mike White trying to encourage his defensive team.
Come on, defense, let's go. Let's go, D. Come on, defense. Come on, D, let's get after him right now, D, right now.
Well, I know how he feels. They've been running right through him.
Second down and 7 from the 13. Clock running. 2:15 remaining in the half. And movement on the left side. Let's see if it was induced or not. Bubba Paris may have been the man who jumped, number 75 from Michigan.
Yeah, I think it was. I don't know why he reacted to the sound, but he certainly popped out of there.
That cost him 5. Let's see. Watch Paris, 75 here.
This breaks the starting count. You see Wangler calling it. Well, he was also getting some response from number 96, Don Thorpe. Once he establishes a three-point position, he cannot move until the ball snaps.
From the 19-yard line. Second down. 12. Ricks to the outside. He stopped at the 16-yard line. Clock is running now under 2 minutes remaining in the half, and Michigan has all 3 timeouts remaining. We isolate here on 34, the linebacker Squirick.
6'3", 229. He's right there. Steps outside of the seam, comes breaking to the outside. Reacting well for a linebacker. And he gets some help from number 35, Joe Miles from Lansing, Illinois.
Third down and 10. Michigan at the Illinois 17-yard line. Wangler looking toward Carter, going for Anthony, and that's flagrant pass interference. Tyrone Worthy knocked him down. There was never a doubt.
There's no question. It was an out and up pattern on Carter. Carter faked the out. Then he turned upfield. And, of course, number 16, Tyrone Worthy, watching. He just literally knocks Carter down. And then he begs the official. He says, no, no, no. Wasn't interference. Watch this. A wham. I mean, he really knocks him down. And he's 5 yards past the line of scrimmage now. See if we catch it or not. No, we don't see where Worthy turns around and throws up his hands like, oh, I'm innocent.
Yeah, what did I do, huh?
Yeah.
Official says 12 yards for manslaughter. First and goal at the 2. 1:26 to play in the half. In the rain. Norm Betts, the tight end in motion. Ricks, back of Edwards. Cutting in, touchdown. Lawrence Ricks, number 46, moving in for the score. And Michigan on a late second quarter drive on which they did not even have to use a timeout. Back up on top, 30-14.
Well, I'll tell you this, they were impressive with the running game, impressed with the threat of Carter out there constantly. I mean, you just can't ignore it. Every time they need him, well, it was third down, 4 yardage, and he got it.
Ali Haji Sheik to kick. Rich Hewlett to do the holding. And the extra point is good. 1:21 remaining in the first half. Michigan leading Illinois now 31-14. Check out the interference call again.
Get it from a different angle.
This is a touchdown, rather.
Just a pitch sweep here with Edwards leading. Ricks with the ball. He gets leverage at the corner. Betts comes back, number 82, but he uses good judgment in not throwing. It would have been a clip. Good judgment there by Betts.
Now we're going to go back and take a look at an interference call. Worthy against Carter.
I mean, there he goes. Bang. Knocks him down. Now he looks for the ball. There's the flag. Now watch Worthy. See if we can see him. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. No. I didn't do anything. Yes, we did.
31-14. Michigan on top. 1:21 to go. See if the Illini can strike in a hurry. Haji Sheik's kick in Martin's direction. Dropping it at the 5 and recovering at the 6 to the 10. down the sideline and cutting back to the 30, and a good run back to the 39-yard line. Dan McLean making the tackle.
Well, this is unlike the Michigan games that we have done previously where we have had defensive struggles. Here it is with 45 points scored, and the first half isn't over yet. Gardner's up and down the field, both passing and running. Exciting football, it really is.
Illinois has all of its timeouts left in the half as they start from the 40-yard line with 1:12 to play in the second quarter. Wilson keeps it on the ground and gives it to Murphy, who takes it to the 43-yard line. I thought they might catch Michigan napping in the middle, but that wasn't the case.
Well, trying to catch him there because they both have 3 timeouts left.
Without a huddle now, 56, 55, 54 seconds to go in the half. 2nd and 7. Wilson for Lopez, and did not make the catch in bounds.
Now, see, that's the thing that Lopez and Dantino have been doing. They hold right on that sideline, and then they tiptoe out of bounds. But that time, he didn't do it.
Third and 7. Wilson pumping and then going for Lopez again, and this one's out of bounds. So 4th down coming up. Our Fireman's Fun flashback coming up at halftime today. George Rogers, the great running back from South Carolina. Herschel Walker, the heralded freshman from the University of Georgia. They will be featured, so stick around. On 4th down, Bostrom to kick it. Anthony Carter back at his own 20-yard line for the Wolverines. Carter signals for a fair catch and takes it to the 23-yard line. So the Wolverines taking over there. They have 37 seconds remaining in the half. So we'll see what Schembechler decides to do, whether he sits on a 17-point lead or tries to get him down the field.
Well, you've got a weather condition now. You've got some rain falling. I think you would protect the lead, although with a guy like Carter, you could go for a home run down one sideline or the other, and if it was intercepted, it would be like a long punt. Here he is with both Mitchell and Carter out wide. Let's see what he does.
They give it to Ricks on a delay. 30, 35, and out to the 40-yard line. So a first down. Clock stopped momentarily because of the first down. As yet, no indication that Michigan wants a timeout. And now they do. So Michigan, indeed, will try to at least set up a field goal.
Well, here you are, a little draw play, sprint draw, delay. Ricks just finds daylight. They're just really getting some big holes into the Illinois line. Of course, we've got to tell it like it is, I guess, that Illinois has had a lot of defensive injuries and been wounded, particularly in the defensive line. Here's Bo talking to Wangler.
Coming up next week, a doubleheader. South Carolina, Georgia will be featured either nationally or regionally. And then the other game in your area to be announced on Monday. So another NCAA college doubleheader coming up next Saturday on ABC. The subject of telling it like it is, one reason Michigan may be trying to put a few more points on the board there is that the Wolverines don't really like Illinois a whole lot. In particular, Bo Schembechler was quite upset the way the Illini handled Gary Moeller's departure from Illinois. Moeller had been on Bo's staff here, went to Illinois for a couple of years as the head coach, got fired, and now Bo's got him back as the quarterback coach, and Bo's not too happy about that whole situation.
Well, that's true. It's a very strange thing here because you have Gary Moeller, who coached against Schembechler for 3 years as the head coach of Illinois. Now he's over on the Michigan sideline as the quarterback coach. Here we go.
Going to the air on 1st and 10. Wangler looking for Mitchell, and incomplete. Rick George covering on the play.
Well, they had a blitz on that time. Illinois did, and they had one-on-one coverage. They had receivers open. Wangler overthrew. He had both Mitchell and Carter open on the play.
No huddle, 2nd and 10. Michigan with 2 timeouts left. Again, they run the play with Ricks going to the left side this time. Ricks to the 50, to the 45, and out of bounds to stop the clock at the 46 of Illinois. And Schembechler berating the official for the moment, contending there was a late hit out of bounds.
Now, Bo would never do anything like that. And let's see, as Ricks to the outside off that draw. Let's see, 16 Worthy. Let's see. Well, he's got a legitimate complaint there.
Bet he does.
You bet he does.
Joe Miles, 35.
Joe Miles came out there. He was way out of bounds. You'd be able to tell that. He was on the he was almost over to the bench. Like I said, Bo's always right.
Yep. 18 seconds to go in the half. Michigan with a 17-point lead. Langler has pressure this time. Going to his right and throwing for Betts. And a flag is down.
Good call. He made contact with him before the ball got there.
At the 37-yard line, looked like Carter came up with a tip. So we've got a flag down on the interference call.
Well, there was contact, definite contact made prior to the ball getting there. And interference was called.
Taylor, number 30.
Here it is. Let's see if we can see it here. There's the ball thrown right from behind there. We can't see it as well from this vantage point. Because he's behind him, you don't get the depth perception. It's Karuk Taylor, number 30, that was called on.
So at the 39, it's a 1st and 10, but only 11 seconds left in the half. Langler going for his man Carter, and incomplete. Tyrone Worthy covering on the play. The one thing Worthy wasn't going to do that time was let Carter get behind him under any circumstances. 5 seconds to go to the half.
I'll tell you, they're dangerous and explosive.
Langler's now completed 6 of 10 for 129 yards. Some impressive numbers being piled up, accumulated by Michigan.
Rushing totals of 223 yards thus far.
Yeah, that's it. 352 yards and a half.
Can you believe that?
For Michigan. This is the first half of our NCAA doubleheader today. Most of you following this one will be watching the game between Navy and Washington from Seattle. Also coverage of the game between Furman and Appalachian State, Massachusetts and Boston U to be seen in the New England area on the second half of our NCAA doubleheader. Michigan is going to go for a field goal. At least they're going to line up that way. And this would be a 56-yard effort for Ali Haji. The Illinois 46, the spotted there.
Into the wind, too.
His longest this season, 45 yards. And the kick is considerably short. And the clock runs out on that effort. So the teams retreat to the dressing room. At halftime, it's Michigan 31, Illinois 14. The Wolverines with over 350 yards total offense. Let's go down and check in with Bill Fleming. Bill?
I'm with Bo Schembechler, and Bo, you're happy about the 31, but probably not so happy about their 14.
Well, it's been our problem all year, Bill. We haven't held them defensively, and although we can score, and we score a lot of points, it appears that we can never get too many because the other team keeps moving on us.
I'll tell you, Anthony Carter has to be one of the most exciting players we've seen all season. Bo, you must be delighted to be coaching him.
Well, he's a tremendous athlete and a wonderful youngster. And this is a good game for him, but this is not. I've seen him do a lot better things than he's done so far today.
Okay. Thanks, Bo, for joining us. I hope you improve the weather in the second half. We'll be back with our halftime activities after this word about an upcoming program on ABC and also a word from our local stations. It's halftime here at the Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. Before the start of the second half, let's talk with Mike White, the head coach of Illinois. Mike, it was an exciting first half, perhaps not so much so for Illinois as it was for Michigan. I would guess that you're going to have to defense Carter in the second half.
You got that feeling, huh? You saw the same thing I did. Oh, Bill, it's a case of our defense being overmatched in this particular game. Carter's an excellent football player. Michigan has an excellent game plan. our players, there's no, nothing we can do technically. We just have to do a better job, and our players have to start believing that they can play against this team, because we came out a little bit of awe. I think we sat back and watched them play instead of playing ourselves, and we just got to improve it.
Well, if you play as well as you played last week against Purdue in the second half, we're going to have a good.
We're looking forward to that, and we're looking forward to the second half. Thanks,
Okay,
Bill.
Mike, thanks very much. So let's get underway, and let's go back upstairs now with Al Michaels and Ara Parsekian.
All right, thank you, Bill. And we'll take a look right now at halftime stats. Michigan leading 31-14. And there they are, Ara.
Mike White was talking about their difficulty in stopping Michigan. It's reflected here in the statistics. Total yardage of 352 yards to 194. But look at the difference in the rushing statistics. Illinois with 21, Michigan with 223. Just incredible numbers there. The passing, though, of Illinois, which we talked about at the beginning of the show, 173 yards. And they came back against Purdue last week. And, of course, that's where Wilson set that record, yardage-wise, of 324 yards and a half. And, of course, if he gets a hot hand again in the second half, why, it could be an interesting ball game.
Coming up following this one, most of you will see Navy against Washington. The Middies and the Huskies meeting in Seattle. Washington taking a big step toward the Rose Bowl berth last week with a thrilling victory at the gun on a field goal by Chuck Nelson to defeat Stanford 27-24. George Welsh leading the midshipmen into Seattle. Furman Appalachian State, Massachusetts, Boston University, seen in some parts of the country as the second half of today's doubleheader. There is Mike Bass, who will be doing the kicking off for Illinois here in the second half. Michigan on top 31-14. The Wolverines beginning the season with a victory over Northwestern, then 2 losses to Notre Dame and also South Carolina. Come back with 3 straight wins. Illinois with a record of 3-3-1 coming in. And as we mentioned at the beginning of the telecast today, a critical game really for Michigan, inasmuch as Michigan must face both Purdue and Ohio State at the end of the season. The Buckeyes and Boilermakers, along with Michigan, 3-0 coming in today. And Ohio State does not face Purdue this year. So Michigan can control its own fate as Bass kicks off on the ground. Anthony Carter fields at the 8 to the 15, the 20, and Carter dropped to the 27-yard line. And a flag goes down at the 27-yard line. As you take a look at the Michigan offensive line, George Lilja would be an All-America candidate, number 59, the center. And the backfield, Wangler went all the way in the first half. Edwards and Woolfolk, the running backs. Carter and Mitchell are the wide receivers. Personal foul is the indication against the Illini. So Carter brings it back to the 26, and they'll march off 15 more to the 41.
Not a very good start for the Illinois team. Covered the kickoff pretty well with Carter having his hands on the ball, but 15 additional yards tacked on for a personal foul.
Lawrence Ricks opens as the eye back on the first play of the second half. Ricks to the outside, 45 to 15, a big gain out of bounds at the 41 of Illinois. Tyrone Worthy making the tackle after a pickup of 18. Now the Illini defensively, Danny Grigas on one side at the end spot. Dave Dwyer, the converted fullback, the defensive tackle. There's the nephew of Dick, Mark Butkus, number 53, and 96, Don Thorpe on the other side. Tony Scarcelli, one outside linebacker. John Gillen, team's leading tackler in the middle. On the other outside backer position, Jack Squirick, number 34. First and 10 from the 41-yard line. It's Edwards moving through the middle, the 30, the 25, and the 20-yard line. So a most inauspicious beginning for the Illini here in the second half.
Well, they're just coming right back and doing what they did in the first half. Running and passing practically at will against Illinois. Just a little delayed trap play in here with Edwards carrying the ball. Look at there. There is no one for him to tackle him until he gets clear down in the secondary. And they just are dominating this game in all phases.
Kurt Becker made a good block to spring that play. From the 21-yard line, first and 10. Ricks hit in the backfield and then dumped back at the 22-yard line. Don Thorpe made the tackle. Check out the Illini secondary. Craig Zerbel, the free safety. A sophomore, there's Worthy, who was guilty of that pass interference call late first half. The freshman out of Decatur, Georgia, who had his problems. And Rick George, the cornerback from Collinsville, Illinois. Second down and 12. Michigan at the Illinois 22-yard line. Wolverines leading by 17. Ricks inside a nice block. And inside the 15 to the 13-yard line, Farouk Taylor making the tackle.
Well, they used the same play in the first half where they fake the ball to the right, get a little misdirection going, then come back. They fake the ball to Edwards like he's going off tackle, right? Then they give the ball to Ricks back to this short side. It was to the tight end side. Got good blocking, and Ricks with good balance turns inside and picks up about 10, 12 yards.
There was that man Becker again, number 65, Harry. He's having quite a day. Kurt Becker, senior out of Aurora, Illinois.
Well, Bo says he's a tremendous football player. Great blocker.
3rd and 3, and they give it to Ricks again over Becker, and he gets to the 5-yard line. Worthy and Zerbel making the tackle, and so 1st and goal for the Wolverines.
But Ricks is down hurt. I don't know. He must have a cramp. It looks like a cramp.
Lawrence Ricks shaking off. We'll have another look at it here.
Yeah, I don't think there was anything unusual about it. I was watching it. Here he is, just takes the ball, weaves it to the outside where the daylight is. Good blocking all the way down. He's tackled right here. No, he did catch his leg in there, his right leg.
So Ricks needs attention. Woolfolk will come in to replace him. We have 12:54 to go in the third quarter. Michigan 31, Illinois 14. Lawrence Ricks came off under his own power. Butch Woolfolk in to replace him at tailback. His play resumes. 1st and goal. Michigan at the Illinois 5-yard line. Michigan leading 31-14. Woolfolk tripped up and falls forward to the 3-yard line. Don Thorpe made the tackle. Woolfolk and Ricks have both been slightly injured for the past couple of weeks. Ricks came out, and there's Butch, who took a pretty good shot. He's hurt.
Well, it was the ribs for Woolfolk, and of course Ricks had the ankle. They performed very well, though, in this game. Here comes Woolfolk out of the ball game.
And Ricks comes back in. Spotted at the 4. 2nd and goal. Edwards through the middle and burst through for the touchdown. Stan Edwards scoring the TD. Bubba Parrish and Ed Moransky and Kurt Becker, the men up front who did their job. And Michigan has opened it up, leading by 23. Edwards out of that fullback spot having quite a day. That's 110 yards on 10 carries for Stan Edwards.
Most of them are that trap play with Becker coming across, doing the trapping. And Bo was talking about Becker yesterday. He says he's just terrific. He's 6'6", about 255, can really move.
Haji Sheik for the extra point. And Ali's kick is good. We were talking about that Michigan line. Men up front doing their job. And we'll see it again, that surge. Enabling Edwards to get in.
Well, the offensive line was to be their strong suit. Here they are down around the goal line. In this particular case, number 67, John Powers, does the trapping. Edwards lines the seam and thrusts all the way through. Look at the line. Block everybody down all the way back over the goal line. Number 75, Bubba Parrish, 6'7", 270, drove his man clear back into the end zone. Even you could make that, I think, Al. With your
5-6 years ago.
I caught your throwing arm yesterday.
I'm telling you, 60 yards, pal. Just give me that wiffle ball.
What, in 2 tries?
Yeah. 12:19 remaining. We're in the third quarter in Ann Arbor. 38-14 Michigan. Haji Sheik kicking off. And Martin will down into the end zone. What a difference in that Michigan kicking game. Well, last year, it might have made the difference in a couple of losses. Illinois offensively The man up front, Sherrod, getting the start here in the second half. Got a touchdown pass in the first quarter today. Wilson, the quarterback. They'll begin with Murphy and Holmes. The running backs, Stintino and Lopez, are the wideouts.
Well, let's see if Illinois can move the ball now. They did very well in the first half.
Now instead of Holmes, they're going to go with Mitch Brookins at tailback, number 33. And they let Brookins have it. And then Michigan lets him have it. Mike Turgovac, who was shaken up in the first half, takes the tackle. Have a look now at Michigan. Outside linebacker, 53. Mel Owens, all Big Ten last year. There's Turgovac, hurt early in the game, but came on late in the first half. Jeff Shaw, freshman middle guard. Caraway, fine defensive tackle. Thompson, number 99 on the outside. 2nd and 8. Wilson, incomplete, and you may have offensive pass interference. Body was going for the interception, and all Lopez was doing that time was trying to keep Body away from getting that interception.
I think it's probably the poorest pass Wilson thrown thus far in the game. He was definitely covered. He should have thrown the ball away. They did make a good call. Lopez did interfere there. Otherwise, it would have been intercepted. He rolls out to his left. They did complete this pass in the first half. Same thing, rolls back and tries to throw back to Lopez. And you'll see here that really, from a judgment standpoint, it was a poor throw. And they called interference on the part of Lopez making contact. And there's the assessment.
Jeff Shaw has come out of the game for Michigan, limping off. Here's the play isolated again. Little doubt about this one.
You see, he reaches in there. You know, I fault really Wilson on that. Wilson should never have thrown that ball in there.
Penalty puts it back at the 10, lose it down, 3rd and 20. Illinois has been penalized 7 times today for 82 yards. They stay on the ground, give it to Mike Murphy, and he gets only a couple, and the punting unit comes on. So Illinois to boot it away. The rest of the Michigan defense, take a look at him. Gergash, there's Canavino, the team's leading tackler, the inside backer 41. Strong safety out of Ann Arbor. Bostic, Brian Carpenter, junior. Pretty young team. Body, a junior, out of Detroit. Jackson, a junior, out of Cleveland. Bo's going to have one of these fellows back next year. Kirk Bostrom to kick. Good high spiral. Beauty. Carter from the 40 and dropped there. Good one-on-one tackle at the 39-yard line.
Well, that was good coverage that time. Excellent.
And Michigan taking over at that spot. Coming up tomorrow, special Sunday edition, Chargers and the Cowboys, live at 9 o'clock Eastern time. The regular Monday night game will be the Jets and the Dolphins from New York. But San Diego and Dallas tomorrow. 39-yard line, 1st and 10. Edwards gets it out to the 44-yard line. Report on Rick's slightly twisted ankle. He came off earlier, but then got back in.
Might be the same one that he injured last week. The right ankle. He did catch it underneath there, the tackler. And he could have twisted it again.
Second and 6 from the 44.
Go ahead. Listen to me.
Wangler to Edwards. Near the 47-yard line. Farouk Taylor makes the tackle. It'll be 3rd down and 2 with 10 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in the 3rd quarter. Michigan leading at 38-14. Crowd today, by the way, official count 105,109. 105, 109. The attendance today as you look around Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. 3rd down and 2. Wangler to Carter, who gets hit as the ball arrives. And it's incomplete. Rick George, the junior from Collinsville, Illinois, breaking up the play.
Surprise call with 3rd down and 1. They try to hit a look-in pattern here. The D was doubled this time from the front and back. The ball was thrown by Wangler behind Carter. Carter was open. If you'd let him in front of him, he'd have caught the ball. The ball was thrown behind him. A very difficult catch for Carter.
Don Bracken, the freshman, the punt for Michigan. High kick that hangs, and fair catch called for by Martin, who then drops it at the 21-yard line, but recovers it. The Illini at their own 21 with 9:29 to play, 3rd quarter, 33-yard kick. Michigan ahead by 24. We'll be right back.
This year.
We're back, and on first down from the 21-yard line, the pass is incomplete. Dave Wilson intended for Mike Martin. So 2nd down, Tony Jackson covering on the play.
Had him open and seen him there. Just overthrew him just a tad.
2nd and 10 from the 21, 9:24 left, 3rd quarter. Michigan leading it 38-14.
Well, we saw Illinois in the first half move the ball very rapidly down the field with completions.
Wilson on 2nd down, and he almost drilled it through Dentino's chest. 3rd down.
Yeah, Dentino said Wilson knows his eye. He thought threw it too hard. Well, see, my fault.
3rd and 10. Dave Wilson, certainly a man who's had his share of things to think about. I guess a classic case of divided attention this year. Trying to concentrate on football and spending a lot of time in legal battles because of the eligibility situation. 3rd down and 10 from the 21. Wilson's pass is incomplete, intended for Lee Bakey, the tight end, number 80. So that drive is hardly fruitful. They don't gain an inch. They end up punting it away.
The Michigan defense has been good, particularly in the secondary. They've had good coverage. But the one thing they have not done is put much heat on Wilson. He's had ample time to throw the ball. If you give him too much time, look out. They're stealing somebody over here. The cheerleaders are after somebody?
Yep. As if Illinois didn't have enough problems. There goes one of their cheerleaders, huh? Woo. Yeah. A little rough. Bostrom's kick was tipped and goes out of bounds at the 38-yard line of Illinois. So the Wolverines taking over their 17-yard kick. A couple of ticks over 9 minutes to go in the 3rd, and Michigan leads 38-14. Back in Ann Arbor, Michigan, 9:08 to go in the 3rd quarter. Michigan 38, Illinois 14. Wolverines have it at the Illini 38-yard line. 1st and 10. Edwards now operating from a tailback spot. Takes it to the 35. So Ricks and Woolfolk, who've been battling minor injuries, have both been shaken up in the past few plays. So they move Edwards from fullback to tailback. He's had a great day. And it's 2nd down and 7. Ingram is in at the fullback position.
Yeah, the position is not unfamiliar to him. That's where he played last year. But it tells you, the injuries can take this as the 3rd tailback, essentially, that they've used in this game.
2nd down and 7. Not that Woolfolk or Ricks are shaken up to the point where they can't play, but I guess both fields with 24-point lead. Why fool around? This is Ingram to the 30, to the 25, and a 1st down to the 23-yard line. They're just out muscling them in the middle.
Really are. You got to point out the offensive line as you read across it for Michigan. Moransky at right tackle, 270. Becker, 255, 6'6". Lelia's 6'4.5", 250. John Powers is 255, 6'3", or he's more than that. Bubba Paris, who they call her quick tackle, is 6'7", 270. That's not a bad-looking line, is it?
1st down, Wolverines at the 23 of Illinois. Delay doesn't fool anybody, and Edwards is wrapped up by John Gillett, number 38 senior at Arlington Heights, Illinois.
A lot of penetration that time. It seems like every time we see something good about a phase of the game, the offensive line, it breaks down.
Yeah. He hasn't done it very much, though, all things considered
gosh,
today.
for the yardage, dominated this game, running and passing.
Loss of 5, second down and 15, halfway through the third quarter. Michigan has now gained 300 yards on the ground. Wangler going to the air, and his pass is incomplete, intended for Freddie Brockington, who transferred here from UCLA. Tyrone Worthy was covering on the play.
That was very good coverage that time. They deployed in a too-deep zone with 5 coverage underneath that was playing man-to-man, and they had it covered well.
Penalty marker is down at the 20-yard line. Interference against Michigan. Offensive interference. And that'll cost them 15 more. Put it back at the 43. All right, let's get some update on a couple of scores. Check in with Bill Fleming. Bill?
All right, and we'll keep our viewers up to date on some scores this afternoon. 6th-ranked Florida State now out in front, 24-3 over Memphis State. That game in the fourth quarter. And North Carolina leading East Carolina 21-3, that one in the third quarter. We've got some action in Pittsburgh, Tennessee, and also Alabama. We'll give you those in a moment.
All right, thank you, Bill. Third down and 30 from the 43-yard line. Wangler looking for Carter. Incomplete, and Anthony gets bumped as he goes out of bounds. Rick George was there covering on the play.
Well, on the previous play, on that interference, he also gave us a signal of loss of down. It is now 4th down.
On the offensive interference call.
Yes. So they'll be forced to punt here.
Don Bracken will do the kicking. Mike Martin dropping back deep, along with Craig Zerbel for the Illini.
Martin's going to get gun shy after a while. He hasn't fielded one yet, has he? He's dropped the ball.
Having a tough time. Bracken gets it away. Good kick, but it will go through the end zone. And out to the 20. The Illini starting from there. 43-yard punt, 23 net. Let's check in again with Bill Fleming.
All right, at Tuscaloosa today, in the first quarter, Alabama has just scored on a 25-yard run by Don Jacobs, the quarterback, going 50 yards in 5 plays against Southern Mississippi. That one's 7-0. This is an interesting game. Pittsburgh scored first on a 37-yard field goal, and then Willie Gault came right back with a 100-yard kickoff return for Tennessee. The kick wasn't good, and the balls are out in front 6-3. That has great promise of being a barn burner.
Meanwhile, here we just had a penalty call. Ball had gone into the end zone on the punt.
I think there was a clip on the part of Illinois. Either that or blocking below the waist, I believe.
Worst kind of penalty to get because the ball is going into the end zone. There was no question that Martin was letting it go there, yet they were setting up the return. And that's the call.
It was interesting because it looked at it. The ball was already in the end zone when they threw the block. That's judgment on the field.
So instead of 1st and 10, it's 1st and 20 from the 10-yard line. Wilson under pressure to Murphy, and he pays the price back at the 7-yard line. Robert Thompson, number 99, junior from Blue Island, Illinois.
Boy, he played that screen beautifully. Thompson, 6'3", 215. He hung right in there tight and tough and made a great play. That's that same screen that they've been successful with in previous attempts.
2nd down and 23. Wilson in this half, that was his first completion, and he lost 3 yards. That's his net yardage, 1 out of 5 from -3. On 2nd and 23. Wilson goes over the middle, man wide open and complete out to the 22-yard line to Mike Martin. He stopped there, but they're still well shy of a first down as Mel Owens made the stop.
Just two, here you see the trip receivers here in this replay, but Wilson is getting just too much time. When he gets enough time like this, you see the stunt that they're putting on. Both men driving off. There's Martin, number 4. He finally gets into the seam across here, but Wilson has so much time, he finally finds him.
3rd and 8 from the 22. Michigan leading by 24. Look out, and Wilson gets racked up. Mel Owens, and nobody was there to pick up Owens. And Wilson pays the price.
Well, that's tough on a quarterback. Someone missed an assignment. 53 right here as the outside backer. He steps to the outside. The tight end looks to the inside. No, he releases off the line as a receiver. Now watch. Wilson does not see him coming, and he just tattoos him right there.
Kirk Bostrom, the boot. Flag is down, however, before the snap.
Interior movement.
5:10 remaining in the 3rd quarter. Procedure call against the Illini.
That goes from bad to worse. They haven't made a first down yet in the second half.
Quite in contrast to last week's second half against Purdue.
324 yards passing, was it?
343.
343
was the figure for Wilson.
Oh. Now they haven't been able to do anything in the second half. Of course, we got to give credit to that Michigan defense. They're playing very well.
Bostrom, low line drive kick. Here comes Anthony Carter. 40 and to the 37-yard line. And a fumble. And Illinois may have it, and they, I believe, do. Illinois with the recovery. John Benegoni, number 7. Here it is again as Carter looks like he might be able to set up something decent here.
Well, he makes a couple of people miss. He weaves. Look. A lot of people missing. Let's see. Well, the ball came out before he was down. It was close. Very close.
First down, Illini from the 36-yard line. Wilson over the middle of Martin. 45 to the 50 and across midfield. Barry and Body covering.
Seems every time a team gets a break that it gives them a lift. Here they come back and make their first down of the second half. Here's Martin just weaving underneath here, avoiding linebacker. Let's see. Yeah. Comes underneath there, shakes a tackle. As Mike White said that he's having a great year.
First down, Illinois at the Michigan 49-yard line. Wilson under pressure from Owens. Complete out to the 47-yard line. Minimal gain there as Mitch Brookins picks up the yard, maybe 2. 4:15 remaining in the 3rd quarter. So Dave Wilson trying to guide the Illini back. They trail by 24. We missed it earlier, and you've probably been reading about it. Gotten a lot of publicity around the country. Dave Wilson, the eligibility question in and out of court. He is secure as far as playing the balance of this season is concerned. The question is whether he'll be eligible now for 1981 or not. 2nd down and 8. Brookins in motion. Complete to Brookins. And out of bounds at the 38-yard line, Mel Owens made the stop. You know, Harry, there's one other thing we ought to talk about. I mentioned during the pregame show that the Wilson case was very complicated, and we can't cover all of the issues. But a lot of publicity has been given to the fact that a transcript came out of high school that had a different Dave Wilson to Fullerton Junior College when they looked at that transcript. So a lot of people around the country might think it has to do with that. It really doesn't. As a matter of fact, that was an innocent problem in light of the fact that the other Dave Wilson had worse grades than this Dave Wilson.
Well, I don't know that that's totally accurate as far as the grades are concerned, but that's what has made this such a complicated case. And everything becomes suspect as a result of it.
Exactly. From the 39-yard line, it's incomplete. Sherrod was the intended receiver, but Mike White and the Illinois athletic staff has told us that the other Dave Wilson did not have the grades that this Dave Wilson had, and that it was an innocent mistake. So really the transcript situation is not that important a factor in this matter.
Well, that's an interesting thing, Al, because I heard Mike say that also. Then later on, I saw it in the newspapers that it was contrary to that the other transcript was a better transcript. So really, I don't know, and you're going to have to wait to pass judgment on that by the authorities that will make the final decision, I guess.
On 2nd and 10, Wilson going deep and incomplete. Well on the play. Keith Bostic back there. Also Marion Buddy.
Good ball reaction on the part of the secondary of Michigan. Ball was up there, and there was a lot of reaction to it, which is important. A lot of ground covered. They got over there, played it tough. Looked like he was going to be open there for a moment.
Just the postscript on that transcript matter. Introduced, was it in court by the Big Ten, and it was dismissed as evidence by the court. So again, as we said, we could talk about the Wilson case for a couple hours. We're just trying to give you some of the facts involved, and of course we gave it extensive treatment on our pregame show today. 3rd and 10. Wilson overthrowing the intended receiver, Greg Dentino.
Well, what happens in the Wilson case, of course, is that you've got everybody else in the conference a little upset by it because the enforcement or regulation by the Big Ten Conference itself has not been what they thought it should be. You know, even Bo Schembechler wondering about it, the people that play against them. And it is really a strange case, and certainly I'm not qualified to pass judgment on it. I don't have all the facts. And it's so complicated that neither does anybody else, it seems like.
That's why it's been in and out of court so much. 4th down and 10. Illinois will go for it, apparently, and in the meantime, they'll take a timeout to discuss it. We have 3:21 to play, 3rd quarter. Michigan 38 and Illinois 14. It'll be 4th down and 10 for Illinois after the timeout. Wilson going over to discuss things with Mike White. 4th and 10, Illini at the Michigan 39-yard line. 3:21 to go, 3rd quarter. Michigan leading 38 to 14. 4th and 10. Wilson gets pushed, but still rolling and throwing, and incomplete. Would have been a first down. Cullen Daniel, 88, had curled back and couldn't hold on.
Is that Thompson putting the heat on him?
So the turn, or they lose it on downs to Michigan. First down, Wolverines. Let's check in with Bill Fleming again. Bill?
The Pittsburgh Panthers have scored now on a 1-yard run by Joe McCall, so it's now 9-6 in that game between Pittsburgh and Tennessee, and I'm sure our viewers are aware of the fact that Tennessee is coached by former Pittsburgh Coach of the Year, Johnny Majors.
Good one shaping up there. First down, Michigan at the 39-yard line. Wolf is back in the game. Carries for 3. Benegoni making the tackle.
John Benegoni.
It'll be 2nd down and 7. Brockington back in at a wide receiver spot, replacing Mitchell. Carter splits to the left, and Brockington to the right. Woolfolk, 40. Run out at the 44-yard line by Craig Zerbel, number 32. 3rd down, 5. So Michigan much in control and command of this one, Aaron. Perhaps looking forward here, we might get a chance to see this heralded freshman who we touched upon earlier in Steve Smith. There he is, number 16. Well, some action here.
If I know Bo Schembechler, it won't be until the middle of the 4th quarter. He's concerned about his defense.
3rd and 5 from the 44-yard line. Wangler, incomplete. Intended for Norm Betts.
You see, he lost the South Carolina game because he took a chance at about the 29-yard line on 4th down, failed to make it, and South Carolina went on to win the ball game 17-14. And of course, the defense has yielded 14 points here, and you know, you never know when Wilson can get hot. So there's no way that I think that he'll make any mass substitutions until at the earliest the middle of the 4th period.
Wolverines at the punt here is Bracken. Kicks it end over end. Low and on a hop. Juggled at the 10. Dentino still on his feet and smothered at the 12-yard line. Kicking again with Bill.
Well, everybody said that the Alabama-Southern Mississippi game was going to be a good one, and it is. Southern Miss has just scored on a 1-yard run by the nation's leading scorer, Sammy Winder, and it is now 7-7, 13:26 to go in the second quarter of that game in Tuscaloosa, where, incidentally, Alabama's only been beaten once. So, hang on to it.
We're going to be seeing highlights of that Alabama-Southern Mississippi game at halftime of the second game of our doubleheader today. Most of you will be seeing Navy at Washington. Illinois from the 11-yard line on first down. Mitch Brookins gets out to the 17-yard line.
I'll tell you, Al, I saw that Southern Mississippi earlier in the year when they beat Tulane down in the Superdome, and I said, this is a good football team. And before the game, I said, they're going to give Alabama a pretty good afternoon because they are a tough, hard-nosed, fundamentally sound team. Nothing fancy about them. They just come after you.
2nd and 4 from the 17-yard line. 1:45 to go. Third quarter. Michigan ahead by 24. Wilson shoots it out here from Martin, and a first down at the 29-yard line. Brian Carpenter covers.
Cut single coverage against Michigan, and he just ran a down and out pattern, and he was getting a lot of cushion by the defender. And Wilson, when he has time and he has open receivers, he finds them.
First down, Illinois from the 29-yard line. 1.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. Wilson through the hands and incomplete. Through the hands of Strader and nearly intercepted by Brian Carpenter.
That was a good call. The ball hit the turf. Almost made a great interception.
And it'll be 2nd down and 10.
It's always interesting to see those situations where the defender puts a little con on the official. The official saw that the ball hit the turf.
Wilson, incomplete again. Lee Bakey covered on the play by James Herman, backup linebacker, number 94. Yep, it's that time of year in Ann Arbor. Get out the coats, gloves, thermals.
You know, Bostead had great confidence yesterday. He was loose, and he said, as far as playing a great passing team, he says, you know, we played California. Campbell is one of the finer throwers in the country, and we did a good job on him. And the strategy here, obviously, has been not to blitz, 3-man rush, 8 people deployed in various defensive maneuvers, sometimes man-to-man underneath or zone deep, sometimes pure zone or combinations. It's worked.
3rd down and 10. Wilson thrown out here to Bakey and dropped at the 38-yard line.
I don't know if he got it or not.
Very close. They need to get to the 39-yard line.
No, he's short of it. He's short of the first down. It appears from the looking across to the far side of the field. Here's Wilson back in the pocket. He has had time because the rush has been very moderate in number. Here it is. Here's the pass right to the sideline. And I don't think he quite got, no, it's 4th down. They're going to go for it?
Sure.
That was Bakey that caught the ball.
4th down, half a yard to go. They're down by 24.
Going to go, huh?
Little doubt. They got to go for it at this point. Try to get on the board.
2 tight ends, flanker back.
Murphy and Brookins are the running backs. Somebody moved.
Yep, he drew him offside.
Yep, they did. Looked like the Illini.
He staggered his cadence in there, and they bought the package. They bit the bait. No, look, he's signaling the other way.
Yep. Illinois jumping initially.
It looked like Michigan had jumped. Maybe an interior lineman had moved. They're going to call it against Illinois.
Could have been Bakey.
I didn't see
the other Bakey, 63.
Yep. I didn't see it. Let's see if we can see it in the replay here. I thought that Michigan had jumped, but possibly there was a movement in the interior line. Let's see here. Well, that doesn't look to me like it looked like the call was incorrect.
So on 4th down and 6 now, they have to kick. And it's a good kick this time. Taken back at the 14-yard line. Carpenter, and he comes back to the 19. So Brian Carpenter returning that one, and the Wolverines have it at their own 19-yard line, 1st and 10 with a minute and 3 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Michigan was leading at the half, 31-14. They've scored the only points here in the third period. Wolverines on top by 24, trying to go 4-0 in the conference.
Well, Michigan came right out at the end of the half and drove right down the field, but since that time they've had opportunities but have not capitalized on them. They flattened out a little bit.
From the 19, it's Edwards. Stan gets 5 out to the 24-yard line. Farouk Taylor made the tackle. Everybody in range, Slickers. Had some on and off drizzle today. Cold day. South Bend kind of day, Ira.
Well, these days where there's a lot of humidity, and of course the chill factor is, and with the wind, makes it rather uncomfortable.
2nd and 5. It's Edwards. Wrapped up in the 24. Yeah, you're used to this. We certainly don't see any days like this in Menlo Park, California, pal.
Your ground rumbles out there once in a while.
We got to bring the coat this week. Clock ticking down. And the third quarter will be terminating here. Just a few more ticks. Teams will change ends. And the Wolverines will be 15 minutes away from their 4th consecutive win. They have things well in hand right now through 3. Michigan 38 and Illinois 14. Fourth quarter. Al Michaels, Ara Parsegian, Bill Fleming from Ann Arbor, Michigan. As John Wangler goes back to pass for the Wolverines. Throws incomplete to the 33-yard line. Chuck Christian, the intended receiver. Let's check in with Bill Fleming. Bill?
Okay, in Pittsburgh, Al has just scored to make it 16-6 in that game against Tennessee. Randy McMillan going over for the score, and the key play in that drive was the pass play from Tricana to Collins. Now, Michigan State has scored against Purdue on a 57-yard run back of an intercepted Mark Herman pass, and the Spartans lead in a surprising score, 8-3.
I'll say Purdue unbeaten, along with Ohio State and Michigan coming in today, as the Wolverines have to kick it. Don Bracken off the side of his foot. Still gets a nice bounce. Stantino returns it to the 39-yard line. And Dave Wilson leads the offense out there after a 42-yard kick on a hop. Here are the numbers through 3.
Well, the dominance of Michigan, the Wolverines in this game, is reflected here in the yardage. Total yardage of 439 yards, 310 of it on the ground to 252, and 19 first downs to 13. There's no question about it. Illinois has not been able to stop Michigan either on the ground or through the air.
Illinois at its own 39-yard line. Brookins gets 2 to the 41-yard line. 2nd and 8.
Nor has Illinois been able to make any yardage on the ground against Michigan. Michigan has been a good defensive team for the most part against the rush, but they have yielded yardage during the course of the year through the air, and most importantly, they've been giving more points than they have in the entire decade of the 70s.
2nd and 8. Martin, pass too high. Ara, have you seen Ohio State this year?
Well, I've seen them twice. And
how do you compare them with Michigan?
Well, I saw them defeat Minnesota very handily, and then I saw them lose to UCLA. I think UCLA is a surprise team thus far during the course of the 1980 year. I think it's going to be a great matchup when Michigan and Ohio State play, and Schleister is having not quite the year that they had hoped for, but they're a dangerous team. They're not quite as good as they were a year ago in the offensive and defensive line.
The game coming up on the 22nd of November. 3rd down and 8. Illinois from the 41-yard line. Wilson rolling, and down he goes. is sacked back at 36 by Mel Owen. Having a big day on the defense. Number 53 is checking again with Bill.
Alabama has recovered a Southern Mississippi fumble and turned that into a score, going 42 yards in 7 plays. Charlie Williams ran it in on an 8-yard play, 14-7. The #1 team in the country leading.
All right, Bill, Illinois to kick it away. Bostrom. Let it roll. Down it at the 27-yard line. Wolverines start from that spot. 13:32 to play. Fourth quarter at Ann Arbor. Michigan 38. Illinois 14. In Ann Arbor, we've been away for one play. Michigan picking up 6 yards on the ground. Ingram, the ball carrier. Steve Smith is the new quarterback, the freshman. And Smith giving it to Stan Edwards, who plows forward to about the 36-yard line. So there is the freshman. Highly touted, the man who was heavily recruited. Michigan and Tennessee were in the running at the very end, and Schembechler and company won out for the services of Smith, who played his high school football about 50 miles from here in Grand Blanc, Michigan.
Bo is really high on him, and I'm sure that both Schembechler and Smith are pleased that he's having an opportunity to play here this afternoon. I think he's got a great future here at the University of Michigan.
On 3rd and 2, Edwards first down, 40, 50, to the 40, and down he goes at the 34-yard line.
Well, Illinois went into a short yardage defense. It was exceptionally well blocked. And, of course, Edwards turned the corner. Here it is. You see him down in gaps trying to stop on a short yardage play. They just put the ball out. Look at the blocking here. Edwards finds a seam right there. Weaves to the outside. Has got the sideline. And I'll tell you, he's a very fine back, and he's versatile, and he's smart enough to play both positions.
You talk about a guy who has sneaked in 151 yards today.
Yeah, that's what
right there. Those numbers.
Not too shabby, huh?
From the 35, first down, Michigan. Ingram goes ahead for about 7. Just manhandling them up front. Earlier today, if you missed it, Mike Weaver retains his WBA heavyweight championship, knocking out Harry Coetzee in the 13th round.
I guess he can really hit Weaver. He's got I guess he's not real quick, but I guess he can really sock him. He's got a lot of power.
And some stamina, too. Going 13 for the KO today to retain the championship. 2nd and 3. Smith's first pass, and it is complete to the 4-yard line to Kenny Geer.
Well, there's Smith. He's justifying, certainly, Bill Schembechler's opinion of him. This is Kenny Geer here, of course, and he just weaves to the outside, the same type of route that we saw Carter run. But the important thing is look at the fine throw by Smith. I like him.
Kenny Geer coming out, sophomore from Madison, Wisconsin. Chuck Christian in to replace him. First and goal from the 4. 11 minutes to play, and Ingram goes in for the touchdown. Gerald Ingram scores his second TD of the afternoon. And the Wolverines have put it on ice. (44-14), Michigan. Ozzie Sheik in to try the point after.
Smith didn't look too bad, did he, on that drive? Took him right down the field.
Ozzie Sheik, 5 of 5 at extra point attempts today, and he's also kicked the field goal. Flag is down. Kick is good, but we've got a penalty marker. And the penalty against Illinois. So the kick is good. 11:08 remaining in the game. Michigan now leading by 31. We'll return to Ann Arbor after this. Number 16, the freshman quarterback Steve Smith, guiding Michigan on its last touchdown march The ensuing kickoff by the Wolverines by Hajishik just went through the end zone, so Illinois has it at their own 20-yard line. First and 10. 11:08 to play in the game. 45-14 Wolverines. Wilson still in and still throwing. For Bakey. And he's out of bounds at the 28-yard line and a penalty marker at the 35-yard line as we check in with Bill Fleming. Bill?
Well, there are some surprises in college football every once in a while, but look at this one. Northwestern leading Indiana 10-7. And I'm sure that strikes a tender note in the heart of Ara Parsegian, who at one time coached the Wildcats, and they were always undermanned, but really scrapped.
Bill, I'm a little torn. You know, I coached Northwestern, but I'm living in Indiana.
That's right.
Frankly, I thought the Wildcats did it without you, Ara, despite you.
Well, it's only the second quarter, but it looks pretty good up there, I guess.
Northwestern on top. Michigan State leading Purdue 8-3. Interesting. Penalty was against Michigan, moves it out to the 35-yard line. First and 10. Nothing doing for Mitch Brookins. Mike Turgovac makes a stop, and let's go back to Bill.
A moment ago, you were talking about Ohio State and Michigan. Well, Ohio State today is playing Wisconsin, and Art Schleister has scored both Buckeye touchdowns, one on a 6-yard run, one on a 3-yard run, and that first was set up on a 27-yard screen to Murray. So the Buckeyes are rolling today in Madison.
14-0 OSU. Here it's 45-14. Wolverines, second down 11. Illinois from the 34-yard line. Wilson to the near side, complete out to the 47-yard line, and a first down to Cam Benson, number 40. Coming into play today, again a look at the Big Ten standings, the 3 unbeaten teams. Of course, Michigan still has to play both Purdue and Ohio State over the final 2 weekends of the season. Purdue does not play Ohio State this year. And Illinois coming in today in 4th place with a record of 3-1. First down at the 47-yard line. Open. Wilson to Dentino, and he gets to the 44 of Michigan, where he's wrestled back. See where they spotted. I think he'll be shy of the first down. Just here.
A little contact in there on that play. They act like they like one another.
No flag, however.
Well,
second down, half a yard. Illinois, they have rushed the ball 17 times today and have gained 17 yards on the ground. Michigan, meanwhile, is averaging almost 7 yards on each carry. Second and a half. Wilson stepping up and incomplete. In and out of the hands of Mike Murphy, the fullback. Dave Nicolau applying the pressure on Dave Wilson.
it's very interesting to observe the basic strategy that Michigan and Schembechler have decided to use in this game, which is basically let's zone off and give Wilson a moderate rush and take our chances, and it's worked pretty well.
Third down, half a yard. So they go for the first down with Strader, and he nets it with a gain of 3, and we'll check it again with Bill Fleming.
An update now on the Alabama game. The Crimson Tide is rolling 21-7 over Southern Mississippi with 2:55 to go in the first half. Incidentally, you'll see highlights at halftime of the Navy-Washington game today. Ken Coley, by the way, fumbled on the 2-yard line. The ball dribbled into the end zone, and Major Ogilvy recovered it for the Alabama touchdown, going 60 yards in 7 plays. All right, Al.
Thank you, Bill. First down, Illinois at the 42-yard line. Wilson and his gang down by 31. Wilson overthrowing the intended receiver, Dentino. Bill Fleming, by the way, is a graduate of Michigan. Guess Bill will be having an open house after the game. Everybody's invited.
Well, you know, I'll guarantee you, I know that he's a graduate of Michigan. I hear it all the time.
Look at that figure. 359 for Michigan on the ground.
Well, I'll tell you, you've got to be able to both run and pass to maintain balance, and Illinois has not reached the stage yet where they can put together an adequate running game, particularly against a good defensive team.
2nd and 10 at the 42. Wilson has it batted up and then intercepted by Cannavino. And he takes it back to the 40. So Cannavino had a tip before that turned into a completion for Illinois, and he's got that play figured out now.
Second time around, he's going to make it done. He's going to do it right.
Cannavino with the interception. 8:19 to go. Michigan 45 and Illinois 14. We're back, and on 2nd and 4 from the Michigan 45-yard line, Steve Smith gets wrapped up by John Gillett, number 38, for a loss of 4 to make it 3rd down and 8. Reminder, following this game, most of you will see Navy against Washington. George Welsh leading the Middies into Seattle against a good Don James team.
You saw Washington last week, didn't you?
They did. Great game. Beat Stanford 27-24. You're going to like their quarterback, Tom Flick. We were wondering about Flick. He'd been inconsistent through the first part of the season, but looked terrific against the Cardinals last Saturday. Time call by the officials here. Michigan, I think they were getting too close to the field. Fellas on the bench, they wanted them to back up a bit.
Place the sidelines, yeah.
With the chain gang some room down there.
I think there's been a great improvement this year with the rule that everybody has to be back. Because most of the time, I know I was an offender of it. Get out there on the sideline, onto the field of play.
Incomplete, but a marker thrown, and interference will be called on Rick George, number 6, the defensive back. He doesn't agree.
Yeah, he reached in there with his left arm from what I could see from this press box vantage point. Let's take a look at it again. Watch George reach in with his left hand prior to the time that the ball gets there. Here comes Kenny Gear. And watch his left arm reach in here. Look at this. You see right there? Contact being made. Definitely interference.
So a 1st down for Michigan at the 46-yard line. 6 minutes and 58 seconds remaining in the game. Michigan leading 45-14. Ingram picks up 6. So Bo Schembechler's had things his way. You know, it's funny the way images are created in our minds, you know, Arrow, over the years. I had never met Schembechler till yesterday. The one thing I came away after meeting him really surprised at was the great sense of humor the man has. Granted, he's done a lot of things very impetuously over the years that have, there he is on the sidelines, that have not sat too well with a few people.
Well,
but I was very surprised with his sense of humor.
Well, you've got to get to know Bo, I think. I think he's a great competitor. He shows emotion on the sideline and the field. And here's his team running through Illinois again, but, you know, he was on my staff at Northwestern and was at Miami when I was coaching also. I was the freshman coach. Bo was a great competitor, a great football coach. You know, in the decades of the 70s, in addition to the great defensive record, he was the winningest coach. And that includes Alabama for that entire 10-year span. Finished in the top 10 9 of the 10 years. And really, he's got a great sense of humor and a funny guy. But I think sometimes his competitive instincts are misunderstood.
1st down, Michigan at the 32 of Illinois. And Smith takes a wallop from Dan Grigas. Back at the 43-yard line. Under 6 minutes to play now.
Well, Smith can say, well, he can say, welcome to the Big Ten, welcome to big-time football. He didn't get any protection. He's blindsided. He's looking to his left. Here he is rolling out to the left. Does not see the rusher. Number 92, Dan Grigas, and he gets sacked. But he's a tough kid. Bo says he's a good, tough youngster.
2nd down and 21 at the 43-yard line. Smith rolling and throwing incomplete at the 35-yard line. Fred Brockington, the intended receiver. 5:09 remaining in the game, and once again, here's Bill.
A milestone in college football today. Mark Herman needed only 72 yards to set the all-time NCAA passing record. He did it. He surpassed Jackie Thompson's mark of 77-47, so or 78-18, I guess it was. And so he has now gone ahead. He is the leading passer of all time, but his team is still trailing.
Spartans on top by 5. Third and long, 21 to be precise, and incomplete.
Getting a lot of pressure on Smith. Flushed him out of the pocket, made him throw on the run. And they did not have a good series that time.
Wolverines to kick. Michigan on top, 45-14. They've led from the outset. Illinois took the opening kickoff, couldn't move. Michigan went in for the touchdown. And they haven't looked back. Don Bracken, freshman punter. High kick, fair catch signaled for and made by the sliding Greg Dentino at the 12. 4:56 left in the game. Wolverines 45, Illini 14. We're back, and Illinois has it second down and 2 at their own 21-yard line. 4:20 to play. Dave Wilson still throwing. And incomplete. Out of the 45-yard line, intended for Cam Benson.
Pass intended for Cam Benson, incomplete.
And a penalty marker is down. This throng here, better than 105,000 in Michigan Stadium, will be going home happy. Light up the old fireplace tonight. We'll settle in for possible snow flurries tomorrow. That's what they were saying last night on the weather.
See what the signal is here on the penalty. Personal foul. You can see what happened. It was in the interior line. The umpire dropped the flag. This might have been an elbow ahead of the forearm and hand, which is a no-no.
First down 10 at the 36-yard line. Wilson to Dentino. And forward progress will be out to the 43-yard line. It'll be second down and 4. 4 minutes even remaining in the game.
Well, they keep putting it up in the air. Illinois does.
Wilson now 269 yards.
46 attempts, 22 completions out of 46. Was he 35 for 58 last week?
Incomplete. Cam Benson, intended receiver. 3.5 minutes to play. Here's Bill.
Well, this is a regional day on ABC, and we have some of our audience joining us. Florida State and Memphis State viewers who saw a 24-3 game are joining us right now. Florida State still number 6 in the nation. And the Missouri-Kansas State game is now over with the Tigers winning it 13-3, so welcome to Ann Arbor.
And here we have 3:30 remaining in the game. Third down, 4 at the 43-yard line for Illinois. As Wilson goes to the air for the 48th time, a penalty marker is down. Mike Sherrod makes the catch. And he's hit down at the 46-yard line by James Herman.
Flag was thrown by the back judge. I don't know whether they called offensive interference. Apparently on Sherrod. Yep. I didn't see it from here. But the back judge, which is the deepest of the officials in the defensive secondary, apparently detected an interference call. They've had a lot of penalties in this game. They must be up around 100 yards. As a matter of fact, 117 yards to be exact. That's an awful lot of penalties.
So back at the 28-yard line are the Illini, and lost it down on that too. So
yes.
It's fourth down, and they'll have to kick it away. The score, 45-14, Michigan. They led at the half, 31-14. Have never looked back. We've got a marker down. Michigan had too many men on the field. As the kick is away and goes out of bounds near the 40-yard line. But the Wolverines were trying to get the 12th man off the field in time and were unsuccessful. So a marker went down back near the line of scrimmage. 3 minutes and 7 seconds remaining. Penalty against Michigan. Hardly of any consequence at this point as Schembechler and his gang starts to look ahead to the remaining portion of the schedule. Coming up following this one, most of you will be seeing Navy against Washington. Some of you will watch Furman taking on Appalachian State, or Massachusetts against Boston University. Officials discussing the options here with the Illini. It was 4th down and about 18 preparatory to the punt.
I think they're going to go ahead and punt it again because it's only a 5-yard penalty.
And the kick wasn't a very good one. So they'll march off the 5. It'll be 4th down and 13. And they'll do it again. Reminder coming up tomorrow, college football 80 highlights of those games, including the Southern Mississippi Alabama battle coming up tomorrow. Much better kick this time by Bostrom. Fielded at the 23-yard line by Brian Carpenter. Flag is down. 40, 50. Carpenter's going to go all the way, but there's a penalty marker back at the 25-yard line. Goes in for the touchdown. But let's see about the flag. They're going to bring it back.
I think it was a clip.
78-yard run back. But that's just for the videotape collection of one Mr. Carpenter. That's not going to show up in the record book.
I know he's disappointed. It was a terrific run. It really was. Looked like he was knocked down.
The man who did the clipping, number 10, Jeff Cohen. Watch him.
Right there on the right side of your screen. Let's see, right. Oh, yeah, right there. Hit him right from the rear. This has had no consequence to the return because Carpenter made a sensational run.
So they march it back. 2:48 remaining in the game in Ann Arbor. Michigan 45 and Illinois 14. Back in a moment. Back in Ann Arbor. Waning moments of the game, 1:50 remaining. Michigan leading by 31. 3rd down and 7 for the Wolverines. And there are Chevy MVPs today. Dan Grigas, defensive lineman for Illinois. Anthony Carter, the sensational sophomore wide receiver for Michigan. In each man's name, $1,000 to the General Scholarship Fund at the respective universities. Our Chevy players of the game. Hewlett in at quarterback for Michigan, throws out to the 32. And complete there to Freddie Brockington for a 1st down. So Rich Hewlett, number 2, the 3rd quarterback employed today by Schembechler, a sometime starter last year. Hewlett, who started the first 2 games this season while Wangler was still basically on the mend. Giving it to Kerry Smith, who carries out to the 33, and we have 1:18 remaining in the game.
Wolverines have been very impressive, I think, in this ball game. Both on the ground, in the air, versatile, and I think the defense, even though they gave up some yardage and a couple of touchdowns, overall did a very fine job. Certainly against a running game.
Illinois has just taken a timeout. Defensive timeout. Stop the clock with 1:10 remaining. And the Wolverines leading at 45-14. Back in a moment. Rich Hewlett has just carried for 5 yards out to the 38-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 3. And as we run out of time here, let's take a look at the scores. Alabama leading at the half. Texas leading at the half, but only by 3 over SMU. 6th-ranked Florida State, a winner over Memphis State. North Carolina stays unbeaten, 31-3 over East Carolina. 3rd and 3. And Tom Hassel gets hassled on his first and only carry of the day, as time will expire for Michigan here shortly. Ohio State leading in the second quarter, 21-0 over Wisconsin, as Illinois has just taken a timeout. Penn State in the third, leading West Virginia 10-0. Syracuse the winner over Rutgers, 17-9. BC taking care of Army in the fourth quarter, 30-6. Lehigh with the advantage over Bucknell in the fourth. And Delaware leading William and Mary in the fourth. Princeton, the Tigers, out in front of Harvard in the fourth quarter. Yale shutting Pennsylvania out in the final period. Cornell a winner over Dartmouth, 7-3. Colgate 10 over Columbia in the third. Brown in the fourth, leading Holy Cross by 11. And at the half, the Panthers out in front of the Vols, 16-6. Second quarter, Mississippi State 10, Auburn nothing. Third quarter, Mississippi 13, Vanderbilt 7. Michigan to punt. Don Bracken. Line drive boot. Fielded at the 12-yard line by Zerbel. Tripped up there at the 14. And other scores, Florida 13-0 over Louisville. In the fourth, Maryland had a tough time with the Blue Devils. Come out a winner by 3. State leads Clemson by a touchdown in the fourth. Virginia 17, Wake Forest 14. In the fourth, Tulane leading the Rec 17-0. In the third, Richmond out in front of Virginia Tech 13-0 in the third. Villanova leads VMI 14-0 in the third. Dave Wilson. He's gone all the way, and with 21 seconds to play, he throws incomplete. I want to thank our statistician, George Hill, out of Seattle. Our spotter, Kelly J. Hayes, out of Malibu. Purdue leading Michigan State 9-8. Second quarter, Northwestern at the half with a 3-point advantage.
How about that?
Minnesota leads Iowa 7-0. Third quarter, Bearcats trail Temple. Oklahoma, Iowa State locked up in the second. Second down and 10 from the 14-yard line. Wilson for Martin. Can't hold on at the 29-yard line, and we've got 12 seconds remaining on the clock. Tigers, a winner over Kansas State by 10. Oklahoma State leading Kansas 9-7. Baylor, TCU just getting started. Rice leading A&M early. Final score, Grambling a winner over Jackson State. So you are up to date. Of course, stay tuned. Navy, Washington to be seen in most parts of the country. Just a few minutes.
Wilson passes it here. It'll be his 51st attempt. He's completed 22 for 269 yards this afternoon.
For Dentino.
Got it.
And he's got it with 6 seconds remaining in the game.
23 completions and 51 attempts. For close to 300 yards.
That's right. Wilson's going to wind up with close to 300 as you take a look at the games you'll be seeing. Most of you, as I say, will see Navy, Washington. So Wilson close to 300 yards, but let's face it, Illinois has not been in this one.
Not when you give up
the first quarter.
You give up 375 yards on the ground. A lot of yardage.
6 seconds to play. First down, Illinois at the 34-yard line. Wilson, incomplete, and still 1 tick left on the clock. Cam Benson, the intended receiver.
One more play.
All right, Harry, they used to call you a genius when you were coaching. How do you pick up 31 points in 1 second?
Do what?
Some genius, huh?
Yeah, right.
Dave Wilson, 52 passes, most ever against the Michigan team. This will be the final play of the game.
53 passes. There it is.
And this will do it. Benson makes the catch and is tackled at the 37-yard line, and the Wolverines are still unbeaten in the conference. 5-2 overall. Illinois now 3-4-1 overall. Al Michaels, Ara Parsegian, Bill Fleming sings along from Ann Arbor, Michigan. Travel arrangements made through and a promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. That's what Friendly Skies are all about. Again, the final score from Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, Michigan 45 and Illinois 14.
Tonight at 8, 7 Central and Mountain, enjoy the sights and sounds of the Nashville Palace with host Roy Clark and guests Catherine Bach of the Dukes of Hazzard, Barbara Mandrell and Mickey Gilly, and the answer to Who Didn't Shoot J.R. tonight on ABC.
Take time out for the good things in life. Presenting Arthur Treacher's Shrimp Platter. 7 plump, succulent shrimp dipped in our secret batter and cooked to a golden perfection. Plus our famous chips, creamy coleslaw, and 2 hush puppies. A complete shrimp dinner, just $2.99. Only at Arthur Treacher's Seafood Restaurant.
The Free Press, the paper you love to read.
You bet I love my Free Press. They've got great columnists. Excellent sports, really.
Yeah. It really brightens my day. It's the most colorful paper in town. Bardzo kocham Free Press, bo jest więcej niż news.
The Free Press. For morning home delivery, phone 222-6500.